9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Bam.
And wow. All right. Big welcome to season 5 of IFB Interfleet Broadcasting. I'm your co-host, New York Pete. Your technical director and other host is none other than the Tipsy Toaster, aka Chris Moore, to the
Howdy.
back dance. That's right.
Great.
Thank you for tuning in to our sci-fi pop culture streaming show. Tipsy and I, we grew up watching the coolest TV
Whoa, you said we grew up.
movies,
You're wrong.
cartoons. Oh, we didn't, but
We didn't grow up.
that's neither here nor there for now. But we watched the best stuff. We read the best books, the comics, all from the 70s and 80s, and the show that inspired us to have this IFB live and sharing it out with you guys is none other than the classic Battlestar Galactica. That is by far our favorite show, and it's made this happen. So welcome. Just it's great to have you here. We have a really cool lineup for you guys tonight.
Yes, we have a very stressful lineup for me today.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah, the Tipsy Toast is like gonna lose his mind. But
we
luckily,
just switched over to Zoom interconnects, and we paid for those, and now it's only the second time we've used it, and hopefully I'm not echoing now.
You sound good, but let me tell you, if you need to, why don't you just do like the gold Cylon Centurion and plug in the extra brain, man?
That's it.
Just
I need
use
to
both your brains, and that's that.
Is it this one?
I can do this
It
one.
might.
This is not it.
That's it. That could be it. But we have Dr. Chris McCauley, our executive, one of our producers. And let's not get technical, but he's one of the producers here on IFP.
Look at that. I got that right.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. McCauley. How are you?
I got that right. I can quit now, right?
Season 5. Season 5, guys.
Season 5.
Season
Is
5.
that insane? That is so crazy.
Okay.
We have an all-star lineup, but before we do that, guys, I want to make sure that we do our classic intro. Always takes in the fans. So I want to make sure that we do our toast, and then I'm going to highlight everybody's joining us live, and then we're going to start bringing on some of our guests. We got them lined up. A bunch of them are here already, and we're really happy to have everyone watching and everybody here with us. But Dr. McCauley, right. Tipsy Toaster, you're losing your mind, but that's okay.
Sorry.
We have a tradition here we've built up. A 5-year. This is going into our 5th year, so this is our 5th year's tradition, and we will
go back and find out when we first started this. I don't think it was the very first show, was it?
No, I don't know if it was the first show. We should go back.
I think we came up with that saying a little later, but we'll have to go back and find out.
But either way, we're drinking our affiliate coffee, right? So we got to make sure that we get. There we go. Boom.
I have.
It is
pecan pie in the sky.
Oh, well, I got espresso.
Roast.
Merlin's Munchies Coffee Company, guys. We'll put up the QR code in a bit, but in the meantime, I want to make sure that we. Yes. Oh, it's special. That's yes, affiliate code. But anyway, so welcome to our 5th season. Happy birthday, Battlestar Galactica.
Happy birthday, Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, of 1978 is when they had that broadcast, and that's why we picked this day.
We're not interrupting it this
birthday.
Last year. I think I found the Jimmy Carter interrupt. I'm not going to do that to us this year.
Yeah, it was funny. But all right, so here's to the fans. Thank you for supporting us and being there, and it's great to be in this community, and it takes a village. So Dr. McCauley,
Happy Galactica Day, everyone.
Yes.
That's right. Here's to you. Yep. Fans fuel the fleet. Keep the faith, everybody.
Mm.
All right. Well, in the wings we have with us
Hang on.
our first guest is waiting.
I'm gonna put some of this in there.
Of course.
It tastes better with a little bit of this in there.
Yes, a little bit.
That's a lovely blend as well, James. Oh my God, that's a taste of home right there.
Oh,
there we go.
Okay.
Oh, you've got me started now, Chris. Oh no. I promised I would only drink coffee tonight, and now
you are drinking just coffee, right? Coffee with
it is. It's just coffee tonight.
It's Merlin's Munchie coffee. Come on, guys.
And it's really good.
Coffee.
And Merlin's Munchies should come up with some more of my mixes there. Merlin Munchies plus Jameson is a good.
Well, all right.
It goes with anything.
Breakfast, it sure does. But that's
breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yes, of course it does. Look, really we have a great guest that's been waiting for us to come on.
Right,
and
who are we doing first so I can line them up correctly?
Doing one of our colleagues from Sci-Fiction, Owen Cotter.
I didn't have that one ready.
Well, you should have looked at the schedule.
I did look at the schedule.
He's first up, so he's jumping on.
I guess he is.
And he is. And so he's in the green room and he's waiting to come on. And I am really happy to have him. Owen has been on IFB in the past. If you guys follow anyone, Owen and Sci-Fiction is definitely worth your time. He really kicks the door down on conventions, and I mean, we had a conversation a couple of days ago, and he's doing some really cool stuff. So I'm happy to be able to have him come on, and we've been talking about doing some team ups, so that's in the future. We have some ideas, and I think you guys out there are going to have a real good time with that. But I see that Tipsy.
Give me a second, Owen.
Okay, so good. In the meantime, so Sci-Fiction, Owen Cotter is going to be on with us. He's a colleague of ours. He's also a streamer. So until he comes on with about maybe a minute or two, I just want to actually say Chuck Davenport's with us, Charlene and Kim Harms, and let's see, Lola. Awesome. Lola's been there, I think, probably from day one. Thank you, Lola. Terrence is with us. Thank you for joining us. Mike DeBrun, Dave. Hey, Dave Turnbull's with us. Cool. Jeff Walters, Michael Morlock is with us. Jeff Walters, Chuck Davenport, I said already. Who else? George Mellis. Yasu George, what's up, man? It's been a while. Thanks for joining us. Gary's on with us. And of course, John One. Chris Laskowski from Down Under is watching from Australia. And of course, Commander Kane, Paul Rotter. Hey, Paul, Commander Kane, thanks for joining us as usual. Philip is with us. And I don't know, I'm trying to catch as many as I can. I know that in rerun, Doc Macaulay, you know that our numbers are peaking close to 40,000 views on our repeats. I mean, last week overnight we had 1,000 views on one of our shows with Robert Picardo, and the previous one that you were on is only like around 1,200 or so. And here he is, Owen. Thank you for joining us, man.
Yep, hang on, my fault. These Zoom inputs are kicking my butt.
It was, man. It was really cool.
Hang on, you can hear him, but nobody else can hear him. So give me a second.
Perfectly, I can hear Owen perfectly. I think.
Try now, Owen.
Go ahead.
There we go.
Cool. Owen, thank you so much for taking the time out and stopping in here at IFB. It's our we're going into officially. It's our IFB birthday.
5-year anniversary, man. Can't beat that.
Man, big 5. Owen, you've been doing this for longer than 5. You've been very, very successful at it. You have a heck of a lineup coming up. And what's the next convention you're going to?
The next convention, we're going to be kicking it up to Nashville for Imperial Commissary Collectors Convention, which is a big collector event. Okay. Mm-hmm. I think after that, we may go to one in New Orleans put on by Electric Entertainment. That's the guys that did like Stargate, Independence Day Outpost, The Ark, all that awesomeness. And then I don't know what we're doing after. That's kind of breaking into like January, maybe like one of the fan expos, and maybe kick it up to, or there's a lot of stuff. There's also filming projects we're doing, just tons of stuff on the grid. We've got a little bit of overflow and everything going on there. So
that's good stuff. I'm looking forward to teaming up. But Owen, thank you, man. I really, really appreciate you coming on, and you've been a supporter of IFB, and you've always had kind words for us. So we want to make sure that we recognize everything that you've been doing for the fandom, because you're a fan of all sci-fi, and you have a very strong presence. So thank you, and we continue to look forward to working together, and collaborating, because I think that's where we're going to go this year in season 5.
Yes, indeed. I want to thank y'all for having me on the show as well. It's really awesome pleasure. I'm glad, and congratulations on y'all's 5th anniversary. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Can we just do your quick shout out to all of your social media sites there? So let us know where you can find you.
Well, you can find me on Facebook at Sci-Fiction, COM. Just type in Sci-Fiction, it'll pop up. At Sci-Fiction on Twitter, at Sci-Fiction on TikTok. See what else? Sci-Fiction on YouTube is Sci-Fiction Official all together. And we're also on Twitch. We're gearing that up. Mostly Facebook, YouTube, and X. It's not Twitter anymore. And TikTok, too.
Excellent. Well, Owen, thank you again. We look forward to you coming back and doing greater things in season 5 of IFB.
Keep feeling the fleet, sir.
Thank you for having me on, guys. Fans feel the fleet.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir. That's awesome. So with that said, we have our next 2 guests, and these
you don't want them on at the same time, do you? You're killing me.
Well, yeah, of course. That was the whole idea. We said that we were going to have our next 2 tag team partners are going to be discussing a little bit of fan fiction, right? So Professor Patton and Sean Shallow have both been on IFB in the past, and we wanted to kind of celebrate, see our 5th season with them coming on and just talking a little bit how, the fan fiction fandom has helped keep a lot of different, fandoms alive, just in general. And one of them, of course, is Battlestar Galactica, and both Professor Patton and Sean are both writers. And season 5, we're going to have Sean from Battlestar Bulletin Board. I love his social media site. We're going to have him come on. We're going to talk about not only the site, not only about, Battlestar, but his writing as well, because he's written some really cool stuff. So we'd like to have both the Professor and Sean come on.
Working on it
here. And
I got the Professor. Just give me a second.
All right, cool. Well, that's the whole idea. The idea is that, bringing on guests and bringing everybody on just to, say thank you and celebrate of sorts. Ralph, thanks for coming on with us. And Scott, thanks for joining us live. And thank you, everybody that shows up later on to the tune of thousands in various places of the world, all around the world, which is just mind-boggling that we have fans that are interested in Battlestar Galactica and interested in science fiction. And, our little spin is 70s and 80s stuff, because that's what we grew up with. I've listened to a lot of other podcasts and streamers. They talk about things.
I'll have Sean there in a second.
Okay, cool. They talk about things as if, well, not as if, but they didn't grow up in it. And we have with us Doc McCauley, and he's a neophyte. We've brought him into the fold of Battlestar Galactica. Professor Patton, thank you for joining us, Professor. How are you?
Yeah, me again.
Excellent. So,
hang on. He's not talking.
Who's that?
Now he's talking.
Yes, he is.
He's talking to you, but he's not talking to the people. Now let's try it.
Okay. Can everybody hear you now?
Oh, I still don't hear him.
Good. All right, now we got to get Sean on. And so, Professor, I know that you had actually you've been working hard on keeping the fan fiction going, and Dr. McCauley, you crossed paths with the Professor.
Yeah.
So here's your chance to.
Yeah. Thank you very much for publishing some of my fan fiction.
Yes.
Very much appreciate it.
Great entry, and
okay, I guess he's going out. I just don't hear him.
Okay.
I don't hear him. You guys can talk. You're good. Go ahead.
Okay.
Everybody else can hear him. We're good. I've got to
it was
set
great.
him back up for my headphones.
With Chris.
There we go. Now we're good.
Send it on to Robert Hansick, who runs the longest-running Galactica fanfic website.
Hang on, Sean.
Going back to the late '90s, and and in time it should be up there as well as on the Facebook fanfic page too, which I know Sean has played a big role in providing that outlet for our work too.
That is cool. That is so cool. I got to tell you, Doc McCauley, if you've never read the crossover that Professor Patton took him years to write, it's Battlestar Classic Galactica and Planet of the Apes.
Yes,
Man,
I have read this.
It is so cool.
We've talked about this before, yeah.
Oh,
it was very good.
Absolutely.
Really good.
Yeah, 4 years of my life, I think I took that one, 450 pages. That's something I'd never try again today, because you get into a rut when you enjoy writing something, and you're not in any rush to end. There's a lot of that. Of course, nowadays, after all these years, there's more of an anxiousness to come up with an idea and do it a little bit more quickly. But that one took on a life of its own, and it's gotten probably the best feedback of anything I've done in about the 30 years I've been doing fanfic.
Well, you've done a lot of stuff. Sean, thank you for taking the time out and joining us. Sean, you represent Battlestar Bulletin Board, and you have been sharing all those classic articles from the various, magazines that are almost impossible to find.
Some really cool art too.
Oh my God, some really cool stuff. I want to thank you on air for doing what you do and keeping things going in your own way as well.
Yeah, I think he was one of our very first guests.
Yep, that's right.
That's right, guys. Happy 5th anniversary. Happy 46 for Battlestar. Happy 5th for you guys. I followed you about a year later with Battlestar Bulletin Board, but excited to be here.
Oh, well, thank you very, very much. Sean, you've actually you've put your stuff up with the help of Professor Patton. So how does that work? Keeping fan fiction alive, because you've been doing it currently, and we have others that follow us, like Lola and Charlene, who've also been keeping the fan fiction alive. So can you guys elaborate a little bit on that?
Well, let me tell you, first of all, Eric, I couldn't be Eric's water boy. Like, Eric is amazing. he's fantastic. We're super active on the fanfic page, Battlestar 78 fanfic. But yeah, and that Planet of the Apes story is amazing. I got to tell you, lately, you probably noticed on Battlestar Bulletin Board, there's a lot of AI art and things of this nature with very short little stories. Just very quickly, I'll tell you, I got that idea from you guys, actually. I can't remember his name. You had a guest on who did micro novels.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and that, I thought that was fast. Now, they were super short. They were like, on a gum wrapper, right? Or something like that. But I've been toying with some AI stuff and doing interesting, I hope, Battlestar images.
Heck,
and
it just Cylon images were amazing.
Yeah, I know. Tipsy Toaster likes the Cylon ones, and so you get an interesting picture. You're like, I wonder what that guy's story is, right? And then you just, you come up with a little adventure, and before you know it, and we put it out there, see if anybody likes it, and just have some fun with it. But Eric is fantastic, and the idea is just not to just put our stuff out there. And I don't want to speak for Eric, but I think it's also to encourage others to engage and post their ideas as well.
The thing, again, as I've said before, Original Galactica is probably the one series that lends itself to so many creative visions here. I mean, it did not have a hard, definitive ending that I think can hem you in like other properties do, where you have to work around how did it all end and such, and maybe all I can do is backstories and such. But we have the flexibility, building off Hand of God, to go in so many other directions. I mean, you can write multiple takes on it. 20 years running, still going with this virtual season project, which is hopefully now in its last season. I'm going to be having about 4 stories appearing in the next month for it as we get our way to the finish. But even that's just one vision, and I love the fact that with so many authors, there's a diversity of people that consult their takes too. Anyone is valid as the other, and that includes Sean's good stuff too.
Well, guys, I just wanted to give you a heads up that John Repper is on live, and he's how can we read Galactica on the Planet of the Apes? Is it an online digital file? So, Professor,
Yeah.
here's your chance to please plug that.
Yeah, there are two locations. First, there is sort of a plain text version. As I said, Robert Hanzik's GalacticaFanfic.com, which goes back to the late 90s, but is still around. It is somewhat, a little dated in terms of its look, but Robert has kept it going, and you can find it there under the crossover section. And then also the Facebook Classic Galactica page that I know that Sean is involved with too. I just keep wondering if I can get the date, the exact title of it right. It got Galactica 78 Fanfiction, the Facebook group for that. I know I posted it there as well as with along with the other ongoing stories. So there are those two locations where it can be found.
Excellent. Sean, you represent Battlestar Bulletin Board, which is you founded that, and it's a heck of a great site on social media for all things that are Battlestar Galactica. I always love to see you putting up those articles, man. You get all that stuff and you put it together. You speaking of Doc McCauley, you were talking about the British Look-In.
Oh, Look-In. Yeah. I ended up finding that in Internet Archive.
Well, yes. Well, actually,
Yeah.
Sean has shared some of those with us as on Battlestar Bulletin Board, and otherwise you can't find that stuff. It's gone. So, Sean, thank you for doing that. So where do you see the fandom going, Sean? What's your take on things? Give us an insight.
Honestly, yeah, sure. Well, look what's going on right now, right? You said 40,000 views, and I know it's not all Battlestar on IFB, but a lot of it is, right? A lot of the core group here is Battlestar centric for sure. So, look, at some point, and I don't want to talk about the reimagined today. It's not that's not what this show's about, but at some point there'll be another Battlestar. The property's too big. And so I'd like to think that this group at some point would be represented with something. J.J. Abrams did this thing with Star Trek back in 2009. It kind of reinvigorated a fan base. Probably ticked off a portion of it as well, but you can't make everybody happy. But I'd like to think at some point, the premise of Battlestar resonates. Richard Hatch always spoke to this. It struck a chord. Something about it struck a chord beyond the 24 hours of what we got on television. So I do think it has a life going forward. Richard's novels obviously live on, comic books live on. Obviously, everything we're doing on our different, Facebook groups and different social media and whatnot. So I think look, we're all primed. We're just kind of waiting as well. But while we're waiting, I think the Erics of the world and everyone we're speaking to today is going to create their own content and do it our.
There's a freeze.
Thank you very, very much for doing what you guys are doing. Thank you. And we have a fairly good representation here watching us live today. We're probably around 30, 35, 40 watching live, so it's a really good number. Talks to the Battlestar Galactica sentiment, which is good. Today's the birthday for both us and BSG, but do you have access to the French Téléjournal strips, Sean?
Yeah, I'd have to dig. I do believe I have that. Yes. I think we actually posted it at one point. I'll have to go back and look at our archives. But I do believe somewhere over the last 4 years, I think we did have that up. So
very cool. Very cool. So that's from the Slider 95, and let me just quickly, Ralph Duran and David Columbia, thank you for joining us live. So it's between the YouTube and the Facebook and the Twitch, and I'm trying to make sure I catch everybody. They're putting up some pretty good questions. Brian, Professor Patton, give us one more time where the fan fiction lives out on the internet, because a lot of people all of a sudden are very interested in the crossover, and I can tell you it is incredible. It's incredible. So Give us where that is.
Again, www.galacticafanfic.com. That'll probably take you to the main.
That's the main page right there. Yep.
Yeah, that's the main. And then there's the link on that page, which will take you to his stuff within there. That's scroll it further down. I think one of those links should take you to the right there. Again, that's been going since the late 1990s. Just got updated today with my with one of my virtual season stories, the first of the two-parter that ends season 5. Although we're now on the Facebook group, some of the stories from early season 6 have been posted.
Fantastic. By the way, Superfan Fran is with us. Fran, thank you for joining us. Another of the old-time fan fiction writers that has done some tremendous work out there. We're so happy to have you on board celebrating today. Thank you, Fran. Gentlemen, thank you for taking the time out. You're going to come back in season 5 individually or together. It doesn't matter, but you will be back on the show. And it's just really great. It takes a village. Doc, do you have any land?
Yeah, basically, again, it's just to reiterate my thanks to the two guys. You know, I'm a new classic Battlestar Galactica fan. And it's always fun to see what is being written out there in fan fiction and keeping everything alive. And those two guys down there, because they're down there from my perspective. Those two guys down there, they're helping keeping everything alive, and they're great encouragers for anybody who wants to start writing fan fiction. So I'm going to say this now: if you have a good Galactica story, and Galactica lends itself to many genres: mystery, romance, crime, all sorts of things.
Murder on the Rising Star, yeah.
Yeah, write it down. And send it to these guys, and don't be afraid, because they're lovely people.
Gentlemen, Richard Hatch would say, "Keep the faith." I think that's what we do. We love Battlestar Galactica. Thank you thank you both of you. Thank you, Battlestar, because if it wasn't for the classic Battlestar Galactica and the fandom, we wouldn't have this show. And we wouldn't have met you guys, and we wouldn't be doing what we do. So thank you so much. And let's looking forward to a bigger and better and greater season 5 with your help. And so here's to the fandom, and here's to both of you. So thanks for joining us on season 5 of Interfleet Broadcasting. Cheers.
You guys are amazing. Keep up the good job.
Thank you
very much.
Fleet.
See you at ChillerCon, Pete.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So that is incredible.
Again.
We're gonna have a good time. So I missed Professor Patton and everybody else at Dragon Con this year. However, I will be attending with John Wan and Professor Patton and a couple of other guests. We're all going to go to Chiller Expo in New Jersey, which is later in October. So that's going to be a good time had. There's going to be a lot of great old time TV, 70s and 80s representation at that convention. That's going to be great. We're going to have a good time with that. But thanks for watching, everybody that's coming on live. We have some really cool, great numbers going on, which is fantastic. We have Tiny Bean. Tara is somewhere out there. We're working to capture her signal. In the meantime, Dr. McCauley, why don't you bring us up to speed with for those that are not aware, we put it up on our site, but Funko Fusion. So the Funko company that does the figures, they come out, they're releasing 2 new exclusive figures. They're both Cylons, which Tipsy is happy to hear, right? Yeah. So it's a new Cylon, silver, and under his boot is a human skull, which is not cool, but it is what
amazing.
It is.
It's a homage to Terminator, right? Let's be honest here. Yeah. It's a homage to Terminator.
And then there is the purple one. They're coming out with a purple one as well.
Yeah, the chase one.
The chase one, and
it's a pinkish purple. Course, I kind of like it.
Yeah, it's like a magenta. It's in a lot of the magazines that came out at that time, they released a picture of a Cylon, and they generated like I guess like reddish or magenta gels onto that Cylon, and it was everywhere. It's cool. So that's like an homage to that, or a nod to that. So Tiny Bean is there. We go.
Do an audio check.
Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Excellent. Yes. Thank you, Tiny Bean.
What's going on, guys? But I am on the phone, so
you have overcome all kinds of issues to be on IFB. Welcome, Tiny Bean. Thank you for coming on. It's our birthday. It's IFB birthday and Battlestar Galactica birthday. So happy birthday to us.
Exciting. I love it.
Big five.
Wow. Yeah. Unbelievable.
It is. It's incredible. So I think if I want to make Tipsy Toaster's head spin.
You didn't. She doesn't have a, does she?
Oh, yes, she does. Yeah, see, I told you I was going to make his head spin.
You didn't tell me before we started.
Oh, my God.
All right,
so,
give me a minute.
Yes. So, let's see. You have it's a small deck, and since you put it together, Tiny Bean, I wanted you to, just have some visuals, but you're going to do, or at least we'll talk a little bit about, the past year and maybe maybe beyond. I don't know. We've been on for 4, going into this is the 5th now, the doorstep of the 5th year, and you've been with us pretty much all along, almost from day one, and I think actually day one. But anyway, that's beside the point.
I remember the conversations. It was like yesterday, and it's like 5 years ago. What?
Yep, that's right. That's right. So, Tiny Bean, you've covered a lot of different shows, a lot of cool stuff. And let's just pick some out of the air. Pick some stuff that stayed with you. Some of the stuff over, looking back. What do you have? Let's reminisce a little.
Yeah, sweet, absolutely. It's been quite a year, and looking back through my notes and
what's your favorite movie?
Talked about. It's like what? But I and it's funny because I was just watching. I don't know, Tipsy, if you caught the new first episode of Tulsa King season 2 that just dropped. I know that was one of our favorites that we talked about a lot. So I was looking back over, my 2 favorite shows of the last couple of years. Neither of them were back in 2024, and one of them was Tulsa King, and the other one was The Last of Us. Tulsa King is just back now. Now The Last of Us will be back in 2025, so really looking forward to that. But that doesn't mean that there wasn't other great stuff. There was some really great stuff this year. I think my biggest surprise favorite of the year on TV wise was Shogun. I absolutely flipped over the reboot of Shogun. Was just absolutely delightful. And then one of our other returning favorites was True Detective Night Country, which I ate up as well. That was another one that I just, every week couldn't wait for the new episode to hit. So that was a big one. And my biggest surprise, and I feel like I just talked about this a few spots ago when I was on, the Interview with the Vampire series. And being a huge fan of the book series, I liked the first season. I wasn't crazy about the first season. I enjoyed it. And then the second season just knocked it out of the park for me. So if I had to narrow down my top 3 with a really, really close behind maybe House of the Dragon in terms of series this year, those would be like my big go-tos. In terms of, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, it's so weird being on the phone. Anyway, and in terms of films, I think it should be no surprise to the IFB fandom that my favorite film of the year is Alien Romulus. Shock, right? Yeah, I just absolutely love that, and I know I've talked about that ad nauseum, but yeah, Alien Romulus, please go see it. Also, going back earlier in the year, Dune 2, big hit. Big fan of that. Big fan of the books and the whole. I love what they're doing with this this new incarnation of the series is really, really fantastic. And I have to give a shout out to Furiosa. I really love.
I liked it.
Furiosa, right? I mean,
everybody pooped on it, but I liked it.
Exactly. I'm like, you know what? It was a departure. It was, more of like a quiet study of one character in the series, and I thought they did a beautiful job of it. So those were my biggies of the year. So many other like little things here and there that came up that were a lot of fun. So many other continuing shows that we've been following, like Silo, and like all these other things that I think of. I'm like, oh wow, there's so many. But in terms of the new ones, those are my picks for the 9 months of the year that we were in, or the day one of the IFB year, I should say.
Okay, cool. Baz is with us from down under, but he hurt his hand working, I'm sure, on his trailer, because I hope
those
you're
bloody
okay,
lights
Baz.
haven't come in yet.
Yeah, he said they were stuck in the mail, but he's get better, man. Thanks for tuning in. And I know that he gave us an update, even though he's kind of busted up. Viper trailer gets registered next week, and hopefully the Viper will be craned on the same day.
Wow.
Oh boy. So
wow.
Great things coming from Baz. Keep up the good work, and just get better too. Watch yourself, man, because obviously you got banged up a little bit, and he's in the waiting room, mauled his hand a little bit. So hospital waiting room. Get better, buddy, and be careful. We want to see that Viper out, but not at the expense of you getting, busted up badly. So please get better. Yeah, imagine that. That's the last thing I want. Phil Leavenworth says Alien Romulus was great. So was Dune. He's a big Herbert fan. I agree 100%.
Yep.
House of Dragons season 2 was an infomercial, according to oh.
But was it better than Waste of Time?
It was better than Waste of Time, and I keep I keep referring to it as Dynasty with Dragons. But I still enjoy it because hey, there's dragons.
Okay. George Mellis brought up Resident Alien, which is one of Tipsy's favorites.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Fun show. Mm-hmm.
I got another one from John Repper. Obi-Wan Kenobi was good. Fortunately, it will get another upcoming season.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be as good or better.
Yeah.
Doc, you want to jump in? What are you watching?
Well, you know what also shares an anniversary of Battlestar Galactica today? I'll give you a clue. Sometimes they're cars, sometimes they're airplanes, sometimes they're tanks, and sometimes they're handheld guns. They're robots, but they're in disguise. Transformers.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And I have been revisiting my past, and I have been watching some today. I've been watching some of the classic 80s Transformers cartoons and reading some annuals.
I noticed the other day you were watching, what was it, Ghostbusters?
Yes.
Animated Ghostbusters.
I had the feet up with the wife, and the cat came in and joined in, and we all watched episode 1 of The Real Ghostbusters.
Yep.
So that was good. I find myself watching a lot of stuff from the past at the minute. There's not a lot of things present day that really attract my attention. So I'm mostly watching stuff from the past. So I love Tulsa King. I haven't seen episode 1 of season 2 yet. But Stallone's always an enjoyable watch. So well, I'm in for that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a little a sideways trip here and recommend Slow Horses with Gary Oldman.
Yeah.
It is binge
worthy. Why are you making fun of poor horses? Slow horses?
Slow Horses. It's excellent.
I'm gonna watch that just because of the name.
So good. Torch 5150 is live with us. Thank you for joining us live. Scott, thanks for joining us live and watching. We have we're gonna have Eric Larson is going to be coming on soon with Laurette Spang and Jack Stauffer. They're going to be coming up. We're just kind of warming up the audience. This is
I got
great.
The slide deck, by the way. It's been there for a while.
Okay, so go for the other. You got a couple more. There we go. Go for it.
Yeah. That's my Shogun. That was fun. Speaking of older things and things that have anniversaries. This is also the week that I celebrate every year that the truth is out there. It's the anniversary of the first episode of The X-Files, which is one of my all-time favorite fandoms. So I always go back and rewatch the pilot, which I could probably quote by now.
Did you ever see Millennium?
I love
Tiny Bean. Millennium was good.
I love Lance
Millennium was good.
So I'm anything Lance Henriksen is in, count me in. Yeah. But yeah, it was awesome.
A lot of people forget that was a sister show. Mm-hmm. And then they did a crossover episode because I have the box set. I was surprised to see the crossover episode, but that was fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, X-Files was my thing whenever I was a kid growing up in the 90s. I thought it was great.
Awesome.
By the way, Baz, even though his hand is probably all wrapped up, he made sure that he said with exclamation points, Tara Scully.
Oh, thank you, Baz. Please get well soon. I can't do this without you.
William Ripke, thank you so much. This channel is refreshing. Going to like and subscribe. Battlestar Forever. Thank you for joining us, William. This is our 5th season, and we are here because of Battlestar Galactica. So thank you for joining us live. Everybody that's watching, we have right now, I think is a very nice number, close to 50 watching us live. And then we also get numbers in the thousands. We're peaking, making our way to that 40,000 views after the fact and rerun, which is phenomenal. So I want to thank everybody, thank the fandom for you guys supporting us. I know if you asked Tipsy, he'd say, well, we'd be doing it even if it was just the two of us. But
yeah, this 3 hours is really tight. I mean...
Yeah. It is.
We should have been doing 6 here. We've done a 6 hour before.
We've done a 6 hour before, but Tiny Bean, thank you very much. You have computer issues. You're doing this on your phone, and that says a lot to your commitment here. You're part of the team, and
you're just as crazy as the rest of us.
That's right. And because of you and everybody else out there, we have a great show. So, Tiny Bean, thank you very much. So the happy birthday to IFB includes you and Battlestar Galactica. So here's to you, Tiny Bean. Thank you.
Yes. Cheers, guys.
All right, excellent. We look forward to the you coming back soon, real soon. Okay, Tiny Bean.
There. All right, guys, have fun.
All right, awesome. That is so cool. That Tiny Bean. Everything that she sets up and prepares is not haphazard. I just want, you guys have seen that, right? So when she comes on, it's behind the scenes. We're putting together a deck. We're doing our stuff, and she gets that to me. We try to get it up, and she puts a lot of thought into what she's discussing with us here and sharing here on IFB. So thanks everybody for watching. Let's see. I really like the Tiny Bean theme song. Yes, we have a theme song, but we're pressed for time. Yeah. Even though we were doing this for 3 hours, in the wings very shortly. I believe that John 1 should be coming on.
Yep, I have him. Give me a second.
So John 1 will come on, and then the intent is that right after John 1, we're gonna have none other than Eric Larson, who always comes on and celebrates Interfleet Broadcasting's birthday with Battlestar Galactica together. So he'll be coming on, and then Laurette Spang, who is Cassiopeia, she'll be on, and then of course Lieutenant Bojay, Jack Stauffer will be on, and Dr. McCauley actually wrote some original fan fiction short stories for both of them, and so we're gonna see how we're gonna work those into a big picture. Don't forget, guys, that Jack has been kind enough to work with us to do a private signing. Jack Stauffer is no longer doing conventions. We talked him into doing a private signing for us. So if you're interested, our numbers I think are over 25 at this point, which is great. I mean, if you take it all in, with some of you that want doubles, we're like 30. So
we're working on Working on that. Get the final pricing and everything else.
Final pricing.
We got to figure out how much it costs to print them and mail them out. So
So guys,
won't be over $1 million. We promise.
No, it's going to be competitive. We want to make sure that
it'll be in qubits, though.
Yes,
we expect qubits.
That's right. But yes,
John's on, but evidently his video's not working. I think I can hear him.
See, when we think about Jack Stauffer,
say something.
Right.
Oh, there he is.
There I am.
There he is.
Sorry, I hit the little button there. I wasn't figuring out on my phone.
Anyways, you're saying Dr. Macaulay, Jack Stauffer?
Yeah, Jack Stauffer hasn't just done Battlestar. It's amazing what this actor's done. And a prolific actor. We mentioned Dynasty. He was in Dynasty. He was in Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Yep.
He was in Perfect Strangers, which I watched growing up in the 90s. We had that on RTE, which was an Irish broadcasting channel. And he was in Superman, the Lois and Clark Adventures of Superman. So he's done so many different things.
So he's been out there.
I think he really loves his theater stuff that he's done.
Oh yeah, big time.
He loves to talk about that as well.
So John, thank you for jumping on. It takes a team, John. So we want to make sure that you come on and you give us a little bit of it's season. We're going into season 5 now, and we want to hear from you. So, what's your
get all the staff? We have a staff meeting, so
yeah.
Oh, the last past year was great. Happy anniversary, IFP. Happy anniversary to Battlestar Galactica. This year's been pretty good. I had a pretty good year. We did a lot of good stuff. We did the Nassau County Minicon, which was very good. We saw the 501st Legion do their thing. We did work on the Tower Protocol. Chris Macaulay, I'm enjoying your stories. They're great.
Thank you very much, John. Thank you for reading them.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you, mate.
Are there any stories on any Primarchs or Adeptus Sororitas?
Oh, there's more to come. There's more to come.
Excellent.
I can actually. Do you want me? I may as well reveal this now. If we're going to talk about Warhammer. I have several short stories that have been accepted into Warhammer anthology for next year. So there are things. Yes, there are things.
Excellent. Excellent. So John, there you go. There's the scoop. You set that up perfectly almost. John, thank you for doing everything you do. It's IFB's 5th season now. It's our birthday, and it's the original Battlestar Galactica's birthday. And Sander, we are rooted in the 70s and 80s, and if it wasn't for the classic Battlestar Galactica, we wouldn't be here. We're all that's where our passion lies, and then we branch out from there. But thank you for joining us live, and that's what we kind of do here. And if you stay tuned, we're gonna have Eric Larson and Laurette Spang and Jack Stauffer here on IFB to talk a little bit, reminisce a little bit, and to celebrate the fact that Battlestar Galactica and their characters are alive and well, and that the fandom is still here. And so, John, again, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. We appreciate it. And this one's to you, John. Thanks for everything you do.
Oh, thank you guys. It's a pleasure. Come on. I enjoy coming on. I do it with authors or film guys or actors.
And you've gotten so many people for us. It's amazing.
That's right.
You put in an awful lot of work, John. An awful lot of work. And you've brought in some incredible guests, and you've really, helped raise IFB's profile. So yeah, here's to you, mate.
Yep.
Thank you very much, John. Thanks, man.
Fans feel the fleet. John feels the fans.
That's it.
He sure does. All right, so John, take care, man.
Coming this year too. We're working on some good stuff this year. So thank you, Superfan Fran, for helping me out. Chris knows, Pete knows, and hopefully we get IFB out there and to see some more good stuff.
Absolutely, thumbs up. Thanks, John. All right, so let's see. We got we got plenty going on. You would think that adding an extra hour to our show would make it that much easier, but it doesn't. We still have a whole bunch of stuff to do, and we haven't really touched upon what we really wanted to spend more time on, but that's okay. With the help of Dr. Macaulay, we're gonna have some trivia. We're gonna have some Battlestar Galactica Glen Larson trivia. So that's going to happen.
Fact checked by Eric Larson.
Yes.
Fact checked by Eric Larson. So
yes, and it's not from. All right, this is a plug for
the first plug of the show.
That's
first
right.
plug of the show.
BBV Productions, the Ultimate Battlestar Galactica quiz book.
Oh, that's awesome.
And introduction by Laurette Spang. Notice all the names that are on there. Thank you very much, Dr. McCauley, for helping that come to
Amazon on the first week of October.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's great news. And I hope you can hear all the chatter outside. Everybody's all excited about Battlestar Galactica and the guests that are coming. So I don't know if you can pick up on that, but there sound like there's a crowd yelling for, we want more, we want more.
Do we have a couple of minutes to talk about Funko Fusion? Do we have a couple of minutes?
Yes, absolutely.
Right, very, very quickly, Funko Fusion. Okay, so I was given this as a review copy, so I just want to say that up front. I started to play it. I was a little bit disappointed at the start. I was playing it as if it was a Lego game. So you remember the Lego video games that have been out there for a while.
Oh yeah.
And then I started to play it with a slightly different set of eyes. Now you all want to know about the Battlestar Galactica content. Well, it's good. It is good. There's lots of in jokes. You'll see Kit from Knight Rider in there as well. In the Battlestar Galactica world, you can play as Athena, Apollo, Starbuck, Boomer initially, and then you start to unlock other Battlestar characters. And it all starts with the attack on Caprica.
Cool.
So yeah, there's a little bit of Funko humor in there. It's a game sometimes can be a little bit frustrating. They throw an awful lot of Cylons at you, and God help you when you're going up against those gold Centurions. You'll have to build turrets. You'll have to get better weapons. But I have to say, when the Battlestar theme music kicks in, it does tug at the heartstrings an awful lot, and that's what Funko Fusion's about. If you're a fan of Jurassic Park, Hot Fuzz,
Hot Fuzz.
There's a whole level in Sandalford. If you love Scott Pilgrim versus the World, Umbrella Academy, Back to the Future, Knight Rider's in there as well. So Xena Warrior Princess, all these kind of universal shows, and it's very much targeted at, I think, our fan base. Is it worth the money though? And I have to be honest with you. It's quite expensive. So retails from $65 to $85. There's going to be paid DLC coming out with different Funkos, but it is it's enjoyable. I mean, you can kick back, play it, have a couple of beers. I was disappointed there was no multiplayer because I would.
It's
love
coming.
To
Is what I've been told.
Well, I want to team up with you and Pete then, and we can play the Battlestar stuff, and we can open it up to the fans. We can all play Battlestar stuff together.
That'd be a blast.
So I think that'll be quite cool. So that's my very brief review on Funko Fusion. I would wait for the price to come down, but it is a wonderful celebration of shows like Knight Rider and Battlestar. And we really want Battlestar content. I give it a go.
Cool. All right. Yeah, you were at it for a while, Doc. There was you went on, I believe, when the first day it got released, and then you went back and replayed it a bit because I remember you were telling me the way it's set up, it's kind of strange, and then once you find out what it is that you're really doing, it picks up.
It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell you how to play the game. You've got to find out. And like I'm 40, right? So I'm at 41 now, and so I had to go through a walkthrough. I'm not great at the video game stuff. Is that if it doesn't actually tell me what to do, I need a walkthrough, and it was a bit. There was a bit of you have to grab like wheels and attach the wheels and do all that sort of stuff. But I'm telling you, when that classic Battlestar theme tune comes in, and we've all heard this, thousands of times, it still tugs at the heartstrings, and there's some wonderful comedic moments in there. And look, the whole thing about this is that we are showing that there is a fan base for Battlestar. I've been a fan of Battlestar now for about 3 months. So I'm very young in the Battlestar fan base. But I got very excited by it. I have concerns about the price point.
Yeah,
that's all.
I mean, yeah, it is. It's and there's nothing wrong with the tie-ins. As a matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, you can play other characters. There's besides the Cylon, besides Apollo, I think there's Boomers involved.
Yeah, Boomers said they're all there, and they all have different weapons, so they fire at different rates. The attention to detail, the graphics are lovely, and there's an attention to detail. I liken it a little bit to the Lego games, but it's not really like that. No, you have to, like I say, I think it's quite a difficult game. But then I just could be really crap at games nowadays.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Well, like my day job, I work for Sony.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can't. But I mean, yeah, it's fun. The Knight Rider sections I loved, and I mean it's basically a cameo. The Knight Rider section's a sort of an extended cameo. I would love to see more. I'd love to see Magnum PI in there. I'd love to see all of that stuff.
I thought he was in there.
No, I might be. Maybe I haven't unlocked him. You might be right. There's a full list, I think, of characters in Wikipedia. I haven't looked at it, but I would love to see, the Magnum PI. I'd love to play as Higgins, right, and the dogs, and just set the dogs loose on Cylons and see what happens, right?
Yeah, no kidding. So we are in the green room. We have Eric Larson. And I believe that I just want to check in with Tipsy Toaster.
Yeah, I think we're having a camera issue.
Okay. So I
see him in the green room. I've assigned him to come in, but he's not coming through. There may be a button he needs to hit on his end. I'm not sure.
So the slider 1995 says looks to be somewhere in between the Lego games and the Little Big Planet. How does that sound to you, Doc?
Little Big Planet visually, yeah. You can't create your own worlds or create your own Funko, which would have been quite fun. If I had been redesigning the game, I would have given you the ability to create your own Funko and then go and interact with the characters of Battlestar Galactica. I would love to see more DLC for Battlestar Galactica. I'd love to see, little side stories, side missions, things like that, riffs on other episodes, all of that. Same with, I want to see a full Knight Rider level. All of that kind of stuff. And we might get that. So this is why I don't want to discourage people from it, but I also don't want to tell people that it's something that it's not. It is an enjoyable game. The second time around I played it, full disclosure, I was having a few beers on a Sunday. And it was a lot more enjoyable with a few beers on Sunday. But I was pulling my wife over. She was sewing in the basement with me because I have my whole setup in the basement, and she was sewing and the sewing machine. And I kept saying, "Come and see this! Look at this! Look,
Excellent!
Look!"
Oh,
so
boy.
There's lots of those moments.
Okay.
He's setting his camera.
Momentary a glitch. The Ovions were not working hard enough. So Tipsy, you need to go down to the combs or something, the honeycombs, and just prod them a little bit. But Crunch is with us. Hey Crunch, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us live. And it's a lot of fun when you see all of the village, so to speak, to come on, all the fans that have been a part of IFB throughout the last now we're going into our 5th year. So the last 4 years that we completed, and now going into our 5th season, celebrating today our birthday, IFB's birthday, along with Battlestar Galactica 1978's birthday. September 17th was the day that it was originally broadcast. I remember it. I want to say like it was yesterday, but it was like maybe day before yesterday. but I remember it vividly. Though it was really something. I knew it was my favorite show. When I got back from an errand with my father, delivering donuts. My father was a franchise. He made his own donut franchise, and we would deliver donuts to some of those other donut shops. And so, in the middle of Battlestar Galactica, I had to leave with him and go deliver donuts to one of the coffee shops, and we come back, and I got back in time to just pick up right where it had stopped. And it was just, I was like, oh, this is the show for me, man, because I didn't miss any of it. And I was like, I was it. But as a matter of fact, I didn't get to bring this up when Sean was on. So when Sean Shallow from Battlestar Bulletin Board, he put up the article. I believe it was a Newsweek article, and the cover said on it, it was a Battlestar Galactica cover, and it said "Son of Star Wars." And I begged my mom when I saw that on the rack. She bought it for me, and I read it, and I was like, "What is this? What is this?" And when I started looking at it, and I was like, I'm gonna find out what this show is, because at the time I was a big Star Wars fan, right? Star Wars had come out in '77, and was still playing in theaters. It was still out. Everybody's still talking about it. And then when Galactica happened, it was just, this is it, man. This is my favorite show, and I think a lot of you guys remember that. It was different times, Doc. I mean, it was 1978.
I'll give you my my whole thing about Battlestar Galactica. People, you could say it's Son of Star Wars. I think it's more profound than Star Wars.
Oh, it is.
For me, I mean, I was watching. I finally got round to watching the DVD extras for Classic Battlestar, and there were two phrases that Glen Larson uses in his documentary piece, which really struck me. And it was we're all robots of a higher God, and that the glory of God is intelligence. Now, you think a science fiction show that is exploring those deep mythological values, it's amazing.
Gotcha. It really is. This that I just held up, guys, is this is the copy that was sent out to newspapers for advertising the actual Battlestar Galactica movie. And so I have an original piece here. This would be, cut and paste, old style, cut and paste. But in the you know what? Let's just move on here, because we got trivia. We're going to be doing trivia old style, and we have one of our special VIP special guests that always comes on and helps celebrate with us, and that is none other than Mr. Eric Larson. And he's joined us here, and we're going to do some great. We're going to talk a little bit, reminisce a little bit. We're going to celebrate a little bit, and then of course do the trivia that we always do with Eric Larson. So when Tipsy Toaster is ready, Okay, cool. So we're going to bring up Eric, and that is really, really a special treat when we get to have him on. And it's a tradition. It's an IFB tradition, and so it's this little birthday thing that we do.
You should declare this as officially Galactica Day. This is Galactica
Yes,
Day.
it is.
Yeah.
It's absolutely 100%.
Galactica Day. It should be a public holiday.
It should be. It should be. Eric, welcome to IFB. How are you?
Great. Good to be here.
So we are back in
technical issues.
Yeah, listen, that happens when you're on live. It's we're used to it now. But again, Eric, thank you so much for taking the time out. It's Battlestar Galactica Classic 1978, September 17. It's the day that it was actually broadcast on television, and it's the first day of IFB as well. So happy birthday all around. And you, of course, were in Battlestar Galactica and Battlestar Galactica 1980, and you did a bunch of other shows with your dad. So that is always so cool. But you're here with us, and we got to talk a little bit offline. Originally, Eric, we wanted you to come on and just exclusively talk about Fall Guy, because you went to see the premiere, and you want to just kind of bring us up to speed with what that was like when the Fall Guy came out?
Oh yeah, it was great. So they invited members of the Glen Larson family to be at the premiere, and see the show. And as a lot of the original performers were there, Heather Thomas was there. I got to see her, as well as Lee Majors, and of course the director was there, and I got to talk with him, David Leitch. So yeah, it was amazing. Plus, just being in all the atmosphere, the dinner party was in the Roosevelt Hotel, and so just being there and kind of soaking up the atmosphere of that place was just amazing.
That is cool.
It's supposed to be a haunted hotel, and apparently Marilyn Monroe makes her appearance. Apparently, so they say. But I didn't see her. But it was nevertheless cool to be there.
Eric, I remember right before the premiere for the Fall Guy, the new movie, we exchanged a couple of quick messages. And I said to you, if you get a chance, you got to take some pictures. And I'm so glad that you did. You shared those with everybody. And it was really, really cool. The whole red carpet thing. And I believe you went with family. And it must have been something to be there and see this, like it took how many years for it to finally, come back. And I saw it. And all of us here saw it, and we thought that the movie was well done. We really enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
What was your experience watching it there? On the premiere.
Well, it was my father's dream to turn Fall Guy into a feature.
Really?
He got the feature rights to a lot of his shows, so that's what he wanted to do. And finally, that has really been the first shoe to drop. Which was Fall Guy. What we're hoping to see is Battlestar Galactica and Knight Rider be full features as well. And there is a lot of interest in that, so that would be very exciting.
Oh, 100%.
So there's a chance for Battlestar Galactica still.
Oh yeah, I mean they're being developed as we speak. Knight Rider is being developed, as well as Battlestar Galactica. So Universal has the chance to be able to turn it into a big feature, and I think that's the big challenge. Is with all the streaming platforms, they got to come up with big blockbuster movies to compete with all the other movies that are out there, all the other Star Wars movies and so forth. So I think they got to go big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Either go big or don't. I mean, what's the point? But Eric, you have there's a lot of fans that are tuning in live that are sending best wishes and saying hello from all around the world, including our good friends from down under in Australia. And all across the United States and in various places, just wishing you hello and good tidings and the like, which is really, really cool. Dorian Keyes with us, another award-winning sci-fi author, sending greetings. Eric, what if anything, if you were to tell us, what was it like? Explain to us, what was it like? You got to meet, I think, Lee Majors at that premiere. What was that like?
Oh, that was great. It was great. Also, I talked with Heather Thomas at length because her husband was my father's attorney, Skip Brittenham. So I have I know her quite a bit from that. So when I first came back, I served a mission for a church, and I came back, and Heather Thomas approached me, but I couldn't quite see, tell that it was Heather Thomas. I just saw this gorgeous blonde comes up to me and says, "Can you take me home?" And I was like, "Who is this?" And then it hit me, "Oh yeah, this is Heather Thomas." But yeah, it was great to see her. I think. I've had people contact me on our tribute page, and they're complaining, how come Fall Guy doesn't pursue the bounty hunter angle? And some people were upset about that. But I think people need to be patient, because if they do go into a sequel, what David Leitch explained to me was that it was basically an origin story is what they did, and that's why they didn't have it as a bounty hunter. But it is open to that. Now, it's being very successful as a streaming platform. I know Screen Rant is saying if it does enough numbers there, then they could turn it into a sequel. And if that happens, then they could use the bounty hunter angle. I don't think that's done. But I think with all these shows is that, you know, they're always redoing and remaking these shows. So you know, if you didn't like one particular version, you know, who knows what the future may hold. So I think it's all, you know, it's all an open field.
I suppose it's a tricky synthesis of trying to make it marketable for today's audience, and also the, you know, honoring and respecting the legacy of what made it great.
Yeah, and I think also is that, you know, you have filmmakers who have their visions, and so it's trying to deal with that, and also you're dealing with the actors, you know, what they want to do, and so there is a certain degree of compromise that happens in these shows. But yeah,
that's tremendous. That is really, really cool. As a matter of fact, one of the fans are on, David Ferreira from Portugal, watching live with us. Thank you for joining us here on IFB Interfleet Broadcasting. This is the anniversary of the premiere of the original classic Battlestar Galactica on television in 1978, and it's IFB's birthday. We are now starting our 5th season live streaming, and the reason that we're here is because of Battlestar Galactica. We're big fans, and that was our take. There's plenty of others that do, you know, the Star Wars thing, and plenty that do the Star Trek, and others that do other shows, other great shows, whether it be Knight Rider. There's you know, a whole Knight Rider community, and Magnum PI and the like. So, and Buck Rogers for that matter. But Tipsy Toaster and I, you know, and Tipsy at the tip of the spear, convinced me, no, we should do the live streaming, and it's all about.
We're regretting that now. Just kidding.
Oh man, you.
And just as we say that, it freezes up for a second, but we'll get back in a second.
Knight Rider.
There we go.
Right. So Knight Rider, when I was growing up, when I was a kid, right, in Ireland we got Knight Rider slightly later than the US. So we got it sort of in the 90s. And I had the Knight Rider toy car, and I had the Knight Rider figures and stuff. I love Knight Rider. Eric, have you ever been in kit? And if you've been in kit, what's it like?
I have not been in the actual kit. I mean, I was in the kit at the theme park. When my father passed away, they had somebody who built up their own version of kit and got everybody in the family to be in it. But no, I don't believe I have been in the very original one. I was there the day they were casting it. I was there when David Hasselhoff and others were vying for the roles, but no, I never got into it. But I remember talking to the designers while they were, you know, working on the project, and that was a cool process. But you know, my father was very, you know, his idea when it came to Knight Rider and other shows is that he would have a Bible. Basically, this is what you can do and this is what you can't do. It's like, we have to make up our minds, okay, Knight Rider can't fly, you know, and then we have to stick to it. Because the problem is, he says, you know, the minute you start stepping out of it, then people are going to lose faith in the show. And so that was important to him. So I remember being in on those discussions, and it was kind of cool.
Eric, we have a question that has come up a few times on your visit, and it's from one of our very, very good friends and fans supporter, Mike DeBrune, and he wants to know, do you own any original Battlestar Galactica props? I already know the answer, but
I had a Colonial Warrior helmet, the original, and I ended up selling it, and I totally regretted doing it. So I did sell one of them, but I kept my Cylon helmet, so I didn't sell that. But
right.
And I have the original motorcycle helmet, the original Colonial Warrior helmet from Galactica 1980.
Excellent. So Eric, speaking of the Cylon helmet, do you have that on display, or do you keep it archived, or like oh boy. Oh, here we go. See, this is why it's so much fun.
Show and tell.
Hold on.
Show and tell.
Yes. Eric. Oh, no.
Wow.
Okay, so we have not seen that. Eric has been on the show, and we've never seen that. Oh, man.
We need to get some humans to dust that off, sir.
Yeah, it needs to be dusted
Get some human slaves to do that.
So that's the original, right?
Yeah. That's one of the original Cylon helmets, man, from the show. Wow. See, IFB, man, Interfleet Broadcasting. What?
This is the other helmet using Galactica 80.
Yeah.
It's kind of a rare one, but this is actual hero helmet.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, bring back the Cylon helmet, Eric. Bring that back. Oh, my God. That is insane.
Then there's this one. Now this was given to me when I went to Texas.
Okay.
And got in the Colonial Viper, and this was given to me. And we when I got to go into the Colonial Viper, and
we've seen the pictures on the site.
Yeah, that is so cool. You see that?
That was a lot of fun.
Oh my God, imagine that. So IFB, right? Interfleet Broadcasting. Where else would nobody else has this stuff, Eric. Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so cool. So we devised Doc McCauley stepped up and helped put together, spearheaded the Q&A, and of course, you actually set eyes on it, and like I told you, two sets of eyes are better than just one, and you caught something, so that was great. And but we are going to do the trivia. Eric, we do every time you come on, we do trivia. So it's going to be old school trivia, right? You're gonna read off the question, and then we'll put it out there, and we'll see who comes up with answers. And let's try to.
Can I just say I'm very excited for this. That a member of the Larson family is reading out trivia questions. Right? This is a very exciting moment for me.
I might have issues with some of these answers, but we'll
go ahead. Yeah.
All right.
So everybody answers in the chat.
I didn't write the questions, so but we can talk about it. So number one, you want to go through it now?
Yes, please, absolutely.
Okay. All right, number one. Glen Larson started his career in the entertainment industry as a member of a vocal group before transitioning to television writing and production. What was the name of the vocal group? Now, if people go to my trivia page, they can probably tell, but...
See.
All right, guys, let's go. This is your chance. This is your chance to show off all that Galactica Larson knowledge. This is your chance to show off.
If they watch the video that I put together after my father passed away, I did a video that has the music of this particular vocal group, as well as the themes from the shows.
Looks like we got somebody bust up over here. So No, it's not the Beatles, okay? Mike DeBrune, what's the matter with you?
Now, he did make fun of the Beatles.
Oh, yeah?
But no. Yeah,
what was that, Eric?
What's that?
What was that? Say that again.
Oh, they made fun of the Beatles. They made fun of a lot of groups.
All right, so I wanted to read this to you, Eric. One of the fans, Ralph Duran. Eric, you are the best. Really had a blast meeting you and talking to you a couple of years ago with the Viper. So that's when you mentioned they gave you the helmet. I think it was at the Viper.
Carl and
George. Yeah.
Viper.
Yeah. So the answer, Eric Patton, Professor Patton, stepped up and said the 4 preps, and the 4 preps is correct. Yes, Eric.
Yes, it is correct. When I got in the Knight Rider car, they go, well, David Hasselhoff. When the guy that was doing the voice of Kit, he goes, yeah, David Hasselhoff was in a group too. They were called the 4 Schleps.
Oh boy! All right, so we had a bunch of the fans stepped up. So I just want to recognize they get gold stars for effort, and that includes let's see, JJ Picard and John Repper and Paul Commander Kane, and let's see who else. No, Mike DeBruyne, you got a 0 on this one. Sorry. And let me see who else. Somebody else I think jumped up. But anyway, the first one, no, not Joplin. What the hell are you talking about? Dan Joplin. All right, Dan Joplin helmet. Okay, that's what
Chris
Laskowski's talking. Yeah. All right, very good. So thank you everybody for tuning in and giving and jumping on with those answers.
And thanks to Dan. Yes.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Dan. All right, so we have let's do number 2. Let's go to question number 2.
Number 2.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Battlestar Galactica was heavily inspired by a biblical story that Glen Larson often referenced. Which biblical story served as the inspiration for the original series?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one, guys. Come on. Let's see.
It's talked about on the DVD extras for Battlestar.
Yes.
So that's how I knew that one. And I was,
so I think there might be a little controversy on the answer to this because I think it's the answer that they have is interesting, which you can make a case for, but
okay. Oh wow. All right, so we got answers. We got a bunch of them. But all right, so let's go. I'm gonna tell you right now that according to what we put together, actually what Dr. McCauley put together, the answer that we have is not Chariots of the Gods. No. Sean, come on. Mike DeBruyne says the Exodus, and backed up by JJ Picard. No, not Noah's Ark, Kim, sorry.
Close.
Not Adama Ark, no. Brian F, Exodus. So a bunch of you got John Repper.
Okay, now here's the thing about this. So the original story that my father had was Adam's Ark. So I think you probably make a case for that.
Okay.
That was the original story that he did, and it was about a spaceship coming from the Earth to outer space. But then what they ended up doing was reversing it and going from another planet towards Earth. So, but I mean, you can make a case for it being the Moses story, because in fact they have all these tribes and they're going to Earth.
Eric, there's 2 things I wanna bring up here. You mentioned Adam's. Well, we all kind of discussed Adam's Ark here very briefly. Does that exist anywhere? Do you have a copy of Adam's Ark, or at least the synopsis of it from your dad's notes?
So that was another subject matter that I haven't gotten into yet, but we are in the process of going through all of the archives of my father.
Oh my gosh!
We're cataloging all the scripts that he's done in his life. And so and then trying to figure out what we're going to do with all these. That's the other challenge. Now, some of these can be turned into features and television shows, comics, and the like. And then others, that basically have, people have already seen in TV shows such as like, $6 Million Man, It Takes a Thief, Battlestar, all these shows. We have to find a home for all those scripts. So we're going to figure out, do we take those to a university where students can study them? That's something that we're discussing.
Wow, that is phenomenal. Very cool. So
don't have a definite answer on that.
Well, that's really cool though. Thank you for sharing that. In the green room, we have another one of our special guests, another one of our VIPs. So being that Laurette is here, I'm just gonna ask Tipsy Toaster
working on it.
Okay, good. So so Laurette's here, and thank you, Laurette, for taking the time out. We're doing some trivia with Eric. However, Eric, there
taking
is
too long.
No, not at all, not at all. But there's a lot of chatter. The fans are pretty excited. George Giacomis is here with us live. Thank you, George, for joining us. Philip Leavenworth says, "May I offer my school, San Diego State?" There you go. It's out there now. So for whatever that's worth, for consideration. And all right. Well, let's see. I know that Tipsy is working on getting a
seconds away.
Okay, he's seconds away from bringing Laurette up so that we can have Laurette and Eric on IFB to celebrate the Battlestar Galactica birthday. Ta-da! Laurette, welcome to IFB.
Hi.
Thank you for joining us.
Great to see you guys. Eric, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, I was very tiny.
I know. Weren't you in the BJ and the Bear that I did? Yes.
Snow White and the Seven Truckers.
Oh my God! And you weren't quite as tall then, but
yeah, no, I was very small. Yeah,
that was very cool. For all you guys, if anybody didn't see that, that was so much fun. I was doing a 2-part BJ and the Bear. And all of you? Was it all the kids?
Not all of us, but a good chunk of them. They had James was there, and he was a baby. And Greg Evagon was trying to teach him to talk because he's trying to get him to say the only thing my brother could say is "get, set, go," and so Greg Evagon kept, "Come on, Mark, set, go, come on," and it was funny. And my brother just kept trying to get the microphone the entire time. But
it was so much fun. You guys were so cute. It made it more fun, kind of brought in the family and I mean family, the Galactica family into that episode. It was so much fun.
Yeah, it was great. I enjoyed
and you were a cutie pie. You still
Oh, well, Laurette, thank
you.
Thank you for joining us. It's Battlestar Galactica birthday today. September 17th was the original date for the broadcast of the classic 1978 show. And we here at IFB, we launched our streaming show on that same date. So we share that birthday. And we're honored to have both of you on IFB to celebrate. Eric has a couple of trivia questions that we've kind of set him up with, and Laurette, if you don't mind, we're gonna have him do one more, and then we'll have you we'll continue our conversation and we'll continue reminiscing. So Eric, if it's okay with both of you, can we jump on to the next one? I know the fans are waiting they love the trivia thing.
You guys hear me with your trivia questions. They're so good and they're so deep that I go, oh my God, do I remember that?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right.
The voice of Kit, the iconic Star Knight Rider, was performed by a well-known actor. Can you name the actor who provided the Kit voice?
All right, everybody answer in the chat.
All right, let's see what comes up. Let's see. Oh boy, everybody is Laurette. There's a lot of positive energy coming your way. And we'll get to that in a minute. Oh, look, there it is. Answers flooding. Oh, okay. So let's see. One, two, three, four. Okay, it looks like five. All right, John Repper, you came in first with William Daniels. And I believe that is the correct answer. Is that true, Eric? That's it?
That is correct.
Okay. So, John, since you were right, I will read your comment. And the comment is for Laurette. And it says, I enjoyed your acting in an episode of Gemini Man. You were in humorous situations and had great comic timing. So that was that was from John Repper. Thank you, John.
Very sweet.
Loved it. So Laurette, you've been busy. You've come on the show. We've discussed some of your writing. You shared your family with us here on IFB, and the fans were touched by it. I know that Dr. Chris McCauley he was reading your book as well. And of course I know Tipsy Toasters is showing off the book, but we'll touch a little bit upon that. We want to get into that and make sure that everybody knows more about that. But in the meantime, Eric, are you ready with another question?
Yes.
Okay.
Glen A. Larson co-created Magnum PI with another television producer who also created several hit series. Who is Glen Larson's co-creator for Magnum PI?
Come on, guys, let's see, because Laurette knows this one. So
yes, she would know this one.
No, Eric Engler's on with us. Thank you for joining us live, Eric. Let's see. Oh, come on, John's hot, man. John and all right,
Jack, God, zip it.
Oh boy. I
loved Magnum PI as a kid. I wanted to live in Hawaii and wear the shorts and have the hairy legs,
come on,
all of that, right?
Of course,
and then have a friend that had a helicopter, and another friend that owned a bar. Well, I was far too young to drink then, right? But a friend that owned the bar. That man had it all. He had it all. And then you went around solving mysteries, and yeah.
Come on, who's better than that? You know who might be better than that? The Hardy Boys. The Hardy Boys.
Listen, the Hardy Boys didn't have good-looking girls coming running after them the way that Magnum had running after him. I'm telling you, when I was a kid in Ireland and we were watching this stuff, because we were getting this a lot later than US. We were getting this like in the 90s, right? And I remember watching this and going, "That's my career path. That's what I want to do." That didn't quite work out for me, but hey.
All right. Well, I know. So obviously, Laurette, you knew the answer to that, and the disembodied voice of our other guest, Jack Stauffer, of course, chimed in. And so you guys don't count because you guys are all a part of this. And you actually, if I'm not mistaken, you probably all met this guy one way or another at some point in your careers.
He also worked on Battlestar, so.
Yeah, of course. And but John Repper came in first. He got it. Donald Belisario. So that was the answer to that. And let's see, we got a bunch of
the funny thing is you can hear Jack's voice, but it doesn't broadcast. So he
he doesn't.
He's not in. So I haven't brought him in the production yet. So you guys he can actually talk to you.
Yes,
but he's not broadcasting outwards.
Jack is always out of control. So he.
I
know he's a fantastic storyteller.
Yeah. He sure is, absolutely. So any stories of Laurette? Do you remember Belisario?
I loved him. He was very creative. He wanted Cassiopeia to be more. He really he wrote that the scene where Starbuck and Cassiopeia are arguing back and forth about him going off to battle, and Don came out and he goes, "I want you to pace back and forth, pace back and forth, what before you go up and start your scene with Starbuck." It's hard because I'm hearing feedback from I'm not sure where. And Don was always creative. He was inspiring. I worked with him again, although not on the set on Magnum PI. My husband and I did an episode of Magnum PI, but no, I just loved him to pieces. He's a great guy and a really pro. He really wanted that show to work, and he worked hard at it. And he was a good writer too. Good
Eric, any stories? Anything you could add to that?
I know the original show that I guess the inspiration for doing Magnum was that my dad loved Hawaii, so he was just looking for an excuse to actually be there, and he would have people. He bought a house in Hawaii, and it was in Portlock. And so he would always have people like looking after the house, staying there at the house. And he thought, wouldn't it be cool if you could have a detective staying at a house and driving their cars and all that kind of thing. And that was the impetus, I guess, for Magnum.
That is so cool. Real quick, guys, we have Brian with us. We have Cyber Channel, Sander, and a couple of others that have joined us. Thank you for watching us live here. This is our 5th season of Interfleet Broadcasting, and it's the Battlestar Galactica 1978 Classic Series birthday as well. Today's the September 17th was the original broadcast, and we have with us here Laurette Spang and Eric Larson, both of which were involved heavily to various degrees on the original classic Battlestar Galactica, and we are honored to have you here with us to celebrate. And it's just really great. In the wings, of course, we also have Lieutenant Bojay, Jack Stauffer, who is also going to come on and share some of the time. It's phenomenal. I don't know that without the advent of this type of technology, it's not that easy to get everybody together in one place. But we wanted to just make sure we thank you. A lot of the fans are writing a lot of appreciations. They're talking about how both of you, in your own ways, have made a difference in their the way they've seen the world, the way they grew up, the way they loved your characters in one form or another. The legacy, of course, Eric, that your fathers created. You were also involved in Battlestar, and both of you actually were involved in other series that Glenn put together, so that's very cool as well. So let's if you would, let's jump in with another trivia question and see where that takes us.
Okay. So Glen Larson's shows sometimes crossed over or reference each other in unique ways. Can you name a character or a show that made a crossover appearance in another Larson-created series?
Okay, that should be kind of obvious. There's plenty of good ones. Where's Doc? What do you, Doc? How did you come up with that?
It's two of my favorite shows. And I've referenced them both tonight. So the two of my favorite shows, yeah. One of them, do you want me to start giving clues?
Yeah, give a couple clues. Go ahead.
One of them's about a car and some other guy.
Oh, Herbie the Love Bug.
It's all about the car, right? And then we've just been speaking about the other one.
Come on, man. Where is everybody? Let's go. I want this to blow up on the chat here. I want everybody in on this.
While we're waiting, we give a shout out to Dirk Benedict's people, because although Dirk can't be with us, Dirk Benedict Central is promoting this, is promoting our live stream. So I just wanted to give that little shout out to those guys as well, because that's very much appreciated.
It is very much. So thank you for everybody tuning in. We have fans from around the world that are watching us right now. And so I want to thank you all, whether you're in Portugal or in Australia or in Canada or anywhere in North America or around the world. Thank you very, very much. We have views or playthroughs that are upwards. We're reaching the 40,000 mark. So that's all because of a show that had one season as is, right? Battlestar Galactica 1978. That show has inspired us, and there's other franchises that have inspired as well, but this one in particular is the one that helped us bring everything together, and we're here because of Battlestar Galactica. And we would just want to thank everybody for watching. We want to thank everybody for watching us in the future, because they'll watch us in rerun, and a lot of our numbers are later on. And so Eric Larson, Laurette, thank you for both of you being here. And we have, of course, Jack Stauffer's in the background waiting to come on as well. Doc, Dr. Chris McCauley, thank you as well for taking the time out. And Tipsy Toaster, our technical director, is just losing his brains, punching buttons and keeping this thing going. But let's look at the answers. So we gave enough time, and what do we got, Eric? What are the answers?
So there is a subtle crossover between Knight Rider and Magnum. Both share the fictional foundation for law and government, Flag universe, although it is more of an Easter egg rather than a direct crossover. John Repper says the eye of Kit Car was based on the Cylon electronic eye. How about that?
That's you see it in Funko Fusion. I didn't realize that until I looked at the Funko Fusion game, and there's actually a scene where the Imperious leader's watching Knight Rider, and then all the Cylon's little thing. Sounds quite cool. So
well, a lot of times you'll see a Cylon pose with a Kit Car, and it's kind of funny.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Real quick, guys, R.D. Moreno and Nick Siragusa from Lancaster, Pennsylvania, are watching live with us. Thank you for jumping on. We appreciate everybody that comes on to support IFB Interfleet Broadcasting. Laurette, what looking back now, I mean, it's been a while, and you play one of the most iconic characters in Battlestar Galactica, and it is what it is, but does it, what's your take on it? Does it stay with you? Do you think about it? Does it, what does it mean to you now?
It's such, and I'm not just saying this, it's such a source of pride, because my kids, and normally kids blow you off as like, yeah, right, you're an embarrassment.
Oh no.
Done this or this, and I am sometimes, but the idea, I mean, I think they're blown away by the longevity of this and how big it still is and how strong the fans are. And my daughter Molly has come with me recently to a convention and sat with me to do autographs for her Last Man Standing. And she said, Mom, I can't believe how some of these people come up and they know what you wore and what you said. And no, I'm so proud of that. And I got to tell you, I remember being on the set in that first week I was working, and I had been under contract to Universal, then not, then came back to do this. And I remember how magical it was, that I had the sense of how big it was and how big it was going to be, because they put so much money into not just wardrobe and who they cast in it, some of it with Lauren Green and John Colicos and then your Council of the 12. It was a constant state of awe being on the show, because it wasn't just it was like stepping really onto Galactica to be there. I mean, I really look back on it as a period of time that I really lived this life. So it's an honor.
Very cool. Thank you very much, Laurette, and again to both of you, Laurette and Eric. Thank you guys for taking the time out and celebrating with us. Richard Eller, one of the fans, says I've been watching Emergency and saw an episode that Laurette was in.
I think I did three. I think I did 3 or 4 of those. That was my under contract period, and that was one of the greatest periods of time for actors because there was so much work. And you remember, there was Monday night at the movies, Tuesday night at the movies, every night of the week, there was a different movie of the week. And Emergency on set, in those days, you could do a whole bunch of shows. You just do the next season, you do another one. And nowadays, my daughter said, no, you can't do that. Once you've guest starred, they usually don't have you back for another season unless you're recurring. So it was a whole different time then. So great fun. But yes, thank you for remembering Emergency.
Absolutely.
Always something happening there.
Yeah, your fans your fans live here on IFB, guys. Both of you, Eric and Laurette. This is the home for Battlestar Galactica, and we have. I know, Eric, you have limited time. You have other commitments, so I want to make sure that there's some other fun questions on the list that we gave you, the trivia. Is there anything you want to jump to, maybe, that stands out?
Yeah, we can go. The opening narration of Battlestar Galactica features a memorable voiceover. Which actor provided the iconic opening narration for the original series?
That's a good one. Come on, guys. Ooh. That's easy. That's an easy one. So
he also returns as a character.
Yes, he does.
One of the best.
Battlestar. One of the best. Yeah,
that's right.
You guys put me to shame.
Well, Laurette, listen, we do this every week.
He didn't have a
put
heartbeat when you checked this individual out on the Galactica. He didn't have a heartbeat.
Yeah. So, by the way,
says that's not his heartbeat. That's mine.
I just want there's hold on a second, Rich. The X-File Thackeray is on with us. I like to try to catch everybody that jumps on live with us. Thank you for joining us live, guys. You're here on IFB, Interfleet Broadcasting. It's the beginning of our 5th season, and it's also the birthday of the premiere of the classic 1978 Battlestar Galactica that was on television back in the day. And we have with us Eric Larson and Laurette Spang. And in the wings, we have waiting in the green room, we have Jack Stauffer, Lieutenant Boje, who's going to come on and share some of his time with us. We're honored to have all of you here. And let's see, do we get any answers? Oh, look, Chris Tucker, I think is no. Penny Hedler. Penny, thank you.
We're good. Give it a second.
Gary, nice try. Let me see. Eric.
He was an Avenger, but not one of the Marvel kinds.
That's right. JJ Picard got it. John Repper got it. And I think it goes again. I think it goes to John, because of course it is none other than Patrick McNee. Correct? Eric is.
Yes, Patrick McNee.
Duh.
He's also in War of the Gods.
Yep. One of Tipsy Toaster's favorite characters.
That's what I cosplay this year at Dragon Con.
Yes. So, hey, Tipsy, is there a reason why you're blacked out?
I'm trying to bring up Jack, but I think he's got a video issue, so I can bring myself back if you wish.
All right. All right. There you go. I just wanted to make sure that it wasn't yet another one of our live broadcast, glitches. Eric, I believe that you're going to be timing out, and so I got
a few more minutes I can.
Cool.
Okay. So give us. It's up to you. Do you wanna reminisce? Do you want to do another quiz question? Whatever you like. It's. What do you got?
Okay, so here, let me do the next one. Glen Larson created a science fiction series that followed the adventures of a reporter who turns into various animals to solve crimes.
Ooh, one of my favorite shows.
What was the name of that series?
Come on, guys. Come on. That's a good one, man. And Eric, we exchanged a little bit of information. We had a little bit of a talk before you came on about this. Come on, you guys. This is easy for the fans. Come on. I want to see this come up. Let's see.
I watched this for the first time recently. Yeah, I watched this for the first time recently.
Okay.
This is why when I was asked earlier, it's like, what TV shows are you watching now? It's like, I'm watching all the old good stuff. I'm watching the stuff like from before I was born. Yeah.
This show was really huge in France.
Oh,
really?
French people love this show. Yeah.
Wow, that's something. All right, we got a bunch of correct answers, and I gotta tell you guys, I'm looking at it. I believe James McCoy got it right with Manimal.
Yeah.
I think James, I think you were up first.
And you can't find that on a streaming service. I actually had to buy the DVD set for that.
It was sold on DVD.
Yeah. So
has been sold.
How many seasons was that?
What's that?
How many seasons was that? Did it make it?
Didn't last very long.
Just the one.
I thought it was amazing.
It had more episodes. It did have more episodes, but not a long lasting show. When my dad got his star, they actually made fun of that show. They go, but Frank Price made fun of it, and Dick Clark did as well. But
well, it's the name. The names.
But there's people. Will Ferrell wanted to turn it into a feature. It has been developed from time to time. So
wow.
So there's definitely people interested in doing it.
Maybe Street Hawk too then.
Eric, there was you and I we talked a little bit back and forth about some of the shows, but you know what? Before we get into that, let's quickly let's quickly do number 8. Would you mind doing number 8 so we can kind of talk about the two shows?
Sure. So okay, Glen Larson developed many pilots and series that didn't always make it to air. Can you name a Larson created project or pilot that was never realized? So I think there's a few shows that could fit this category.
We have one in mind, and it was interesting the commentary back and forth when you reviewed this. You said some stuff, and when we get some answers up, I wanted to kind of like explore that with you just a little bit, and of course. Yes. Okay. John Repper does win the Golden Cluster because, yes, you're on fire, John. You are truly on fire. And the answer, you are correct. What we're looking for is, let's see. Oh, wait a minute. I think Manimal. Yes, Manimal. That's right. And there is that was Manimal.
Manimal was made into a series. So it was several episodes, but there's some that didn't get past the pilot. And that was it.
The answer that we're looking for on number 8, guys. Eric, do you want to read off the answer?
Sure. Well, one that just made it to pilot was a show with Crystal Bernard, and it was called Chameleons.
Oh.
It was right before she went to Wings, and it was a superhero show. It was sort of like a Batman kind of thing, but didn't get very far. Just the first episode.
Okay. However, in this case, we kind of highlighted. We went a little bit with something else, and that was the Highwayman. Correct, Eric?
So, Highwayman did last a few episodes. I mean, it was made into to a few episodes, quite a few episodes.
Yes. And so that the Highwayman, you did mention that there may be some other episodes out there, either that or Manimal.
We have a library full of episodes. Glen Larson owns those shows, so the estate.
Oh boy, that some of that stuff needs to be put out again in syndication or whatever. It's just so cool that these things exist, and some of them, I believe, I'm not mistaken, Eric, they haven't even been aired. So there's a couple of those that were made but just didn't make it. So man, you gotta work some magic and let that stuff out somehow.
Yeah, it's a little complicated, but yeah, eventually I believe it will.
Wouldn't it be cool though, you guys, if there was a Glen Larson channel that had all of his stuff just running continuously?
He had so much of it too.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Agreed. There's definitely enough that everybody would have so much fun watching. From like the Magnums that go on for season after season to just the ones that are one season and etc. It's just incredible. Eric, it's always a pleasure to have you drop in and share. And then I mean you pulled out the Cylon helmet that you hadn't shown anyone before, because you do come in at least once a year. I want to try to have you come on again, not just on our anniversary / birthdays, and do the trivia that you do, and then we talk, reminisce, and you give us some insights that no one else has. And we do appreciate it. You maintain some of the social media out there that keeps these shows that we love going. Thank you for doing that as well. And we love this stuff. Thank you so much, Eric.
Thanks for coming on, Eric. And
thank you.
Next year we might have cake. Next year we should have cake. We'll call it Galactica Day, and we'll have cake.
Yes, with
that'd be great.
No. You have to have mushies.
Mushies,
Oh,
yes.
mushies, yes,
Mushies.
mushies.
What were mushies?
I actually asked.
We know.
We know because I actually asked
Terrence McDonald.
Terrence McDonald knew exactly what they were.
Yes.
He said they were green flavored cheesecake.
Yep, that's right.
Oh.
Green flavored?
Or green colored, sorry. Green
colored.
colored.
Oh.
I'm sure it's green flavored too.
Lorette's on the ball.
Like mint,
Wait.
like a mint tasting cheesecake?
Yeah,
No.
might be.
I think it was just colored. But
green colored
Eric,
cheesecake.
Thank you so much. This toast is to may your father's memory be eternal, Eric, and thank you for coming on. So here's to Battlestar Galactica and all the different shows, and to you, Eric, for keeping things going and supporting the fandom. So all the best. Cheers, Eric.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Lunch, Eric.
And nice to see you again, Laurette.
Great seeing you too, Eric.
I guess I'm not going to be able to see
Jack
Stauffer over there, but
I think we're having a video problem with Jack, so
yeah.
I think I have his audio wise, but I got him audio wise. Here, Jack, talk.
Okay, well, at least you can hear me. I don't know how to fix the video. I'm lucky I can even dial a telephone these days. So
you got really good crystal video though, or audio though.
Hey, Chris, can you put up the image that you have? We have a great image of Jack in the Viper. So we could put that up at least, and that would be kind of cool. But again, Eric, I know that you went above and beyond the amount of time that we'd ask you to come on, and you're sharing that with us, and that's very, very cool. We'll invite you again, and again, we love doing the trivia with you, so we'll have you come on before a year goes by, and we'll reminisce, and then maybe we can get Jack to come on as well. Jack, how you doing there?
I'm hanging in there for an old fart. And
awesome. Good
and
stuff.
I must say, Laurette looks better than all of us.
Oh,
oh, Laurette looks great.
Absolutely, and that's the fans have said it as well. So if you get a chance to go through some of the chats and some of the things that have been put up, it's all great. Everybody loves all of your work, guys. Jack, you're included in that. Eric, you've acted as well. So everybody is, we're all fans here. We're all fans. You're in the right place, in good company, and we've done things. So this is important. Before you go, Eric, I alluded to this earlier. Star Trek and Star Wars are very well represented. The fans always get to talk about what they did and how they were inspired by those shows. But you guys also need to know that Battlestar Galactica has inspired us as well, and many fans, specifically through everything that you brought to the shows, everything that you've done for it, and everything you continue to do. So there are those of us that have been influenced, and we've done things as well, just like the other fans. So thank you very much. Eric, I will reach out to you privately in the future. Hopefully you can come back. We love having you on.
All right, very good. Thanks, guys.
Bye, Eric.
Thanks, and happy Battlestar Galactica anniversary.
Absolutely, thank you. Oh wow, that's really something. So Laurette, it's now Laurette and Jack that are guesting, and so Laurette, thank you also for taking the time out. And you don't do a lot of conventions, and I know conventions are not. That's not because you don't want to. That's driven by what's out there and what's driven by, the powers that be that are actually, producing them. We the fans, we talked to Jack about this. There are plenty of fans out there that are still wanting to meet up with you guys. I had the privilege of meeting up with you, Laurette, at there was a WinterCon in New York City a few years ago, and it was a reunion of sorts. I got to speak with you, and it was really special because I had not had a chance to see you in person. And Jack, of course, we were going to meet up with Jack at AllCon. There was a convention that was happening right at the time that the pandemic happened, and it just ruined everything. We were going to Jack was going to do a cabaret, and we were going to, we were sponsoring. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. But thank you for coming on. And if you were going to, give us a little bit more of your experiences with Galactica, what would that? Tell us a little bit more.
Your favorite moment?
Yeah.
Now, are you talking to me or to Laurette?
Well, I'd like to have both of you, Jack. Yeah. I'd like to have you say something, and Laurette, I'd like to have you bring up a little bit more of your, the stories maybe, or the reminiscing.
Well, I will say, because I've always said this, that I'm sorry the video's not working, and I have no idea how to fix it.
We'll work on it later. We got your picture up.
But yeah, I look much better in the picture than I do in real life.
And you got to get Sammy in to fix it. She'd know.
Yes. It's obviously the camera's not activated, I guess, but I have no idea how to do it. I just pushed the button that you guys told me to push, and that's as far as I could go. The first thing, and I know Laurette agrees with me on this, in that we've evolved into a generation of actors who are entitled and think that they are much more important than the fans, and they're doing the fans a great big favor about showing up. Laurette and I are from a different era, and I have said always the most important thing in the world are the fans. You meant more to us, believe it or not, than we meant to you, because you were the ones who watched the show. And if you didn't watch the show, that show would not have gone on the air. So I am eternally grateful to any fan of the show or of Boj that would come up to me and want to talk to me. And I still feel that way. It's to me, you know, it's more of an honor for me to be talking to you, I think, than the other way around. And that's the way I was brought up in an industry that was much different than it is today. But I think Laurette would probably agree with that.
Yeah, I do. And that's old school. That's the old school feeling. But Jack and I both, I mean, we could sit and talk for 2 hours on the phone. I'm terrible.
Easy.
He knows I'm terrible at communicating and he's the one that keeps reaching out and staying connected, saying, call me. Or I text more, which drives him crazy. He says, I can't do that much with my thumbs. It's too much. But we talk often about those days and how much it meant to us. And the show, I mean, look at all these years that have gone by and it's still alive, not because of us, because of you guys. I mean, you guys have kept it alive and, you know, it's the best. And Jack, I think one of my favorite memories is the episode with where we came parachuting into Gamorre?
Gamorre, the raid on Gamorre.
Yep.
And because that night we're all in our black leather and they've got us up in these harnesses and parachuting down, and we've got these big laser guns, and it's just so cool and exciting. And Jack, it's hard to keep him from making jokes, but
well, the joke of that was that those, you know, our costumer, those black suits, which looked so good, that was before leather went to men. So those outfits were actually ladies' clothes. So the pants, what we call the rise in the pants, or how they fit over your bottom and crotch, was much different than men's pants.
Well, and those were custom made, weren't they?
Well, I tell you, when they pulled me up in that harness,
yeah, well, that's the harness.
Jack, did your voice go up a couple of octaves, man? Did it just start to rise a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we could not get on the ground fast enough, and you know, it was fun. You know, it was great. It was before CGI. They would have done that today, CGI, but they hauled us up on cranes. I remember we were out at Cal State Northridge University, which was new at the time, and you know, and then we flew and you know, it ran around. But I just remember those suits were really uncomfortable. But that's, you know, how I ended up starting to go to conventions. Annie Lockhart came over and had lunch with me, and when the show we knew the show was canceled, I called a friend of mine who was a photographer, and I said, do you have any of the stills of those pictures? Because they had a studio photographer. And he said, you better get over here because we're throwing them all away. And that's how I got the stills that you've all seen of me in the black suits and with Annie. They're, you know, they're, you know, I got, they were on my wall, and Annie looked at them and said, my God, where'd you get those? And I told her, and she said, well, you should take them to a convention. And I said, what's a convention? And she said, if I tell you about convention, would you give me a copy of the pictures so I can have them? And that's how I started going, you know, to conventions. And then it evolved then to Richard and me and the Second Coming that, you know, I was involved with. That I went to conventions, and but you know, it was such a different time, and the drama around Battlestar and the conflict that between management and labor in those days was extreme. You know, I won't go all the way back to the beginning on this, but shooting each individual show, it was the most expensive hour show to film in the history of television at the time. It was the first show that an hour episode cost over $1 million, and that was one of the problems was because it was never set up to be an hour show. So there was a lot of tension between those in the Black Tower, which we call, and the actors. And I think one of the reasons why we all stayed friends, we were like soldiers in the trenches. I mean, our job was, as I've always said, know your words, hit your mark, and try not to run into the furniture. But we all gathered together while the battles went on, production-wise, and made sure that when we shot, we knew our words, and we knew we didn't want to screw it up. So we were really a team, and that's unusual in a show with a large cast. There's always somebody who doesn't like somebody, or somebody feels slighted by somebody else. That wasn't the case there. We were all good friends, and I think that was one of the most amazing things, is that we remained good friends for 45 years. We lost Richard early. We've just lost Terry, but I mean, we would have a great time when they get all of us at the conventions. And of course we laugh and say, when we'd all get up on the stage and they would ask us all questions, none of us could say a word, because if you got Richard and Dirk on the stage with us, it doesn't matter who got asked the question, they answered it. But it was, they were, the cons were great fun. Shooting the show was great fun. I mean, just because we got to like each other so much that no matter what was going on around us, we had each other to cling to. So I'm very grateful for that, and I'm very grateful that we've remained friends through all these years. It's sorry to see Terry has left us, but he's somewhere barking orders at Richard, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so speaking of Terry, what's your fondest memory of Terry on the set? In his memory.
I didn't work with Terry that much. I only had one scene with Terry, and it literally was, a walkthrough scene. All my stuff literally was with Richard and Dirk and Annie, and Laurette on the Red and Gamora and Herb. So I don't think I had a scene with Lauren. And of course, Lloyd was in all the scenes with me. And I was told, I taught him how to play tennis so he could go down and play in the celebrity tennis matches which were big at the time down in Palm Springs.
How about you, Laurette? What's your fondest memory of Terry?
Terry got the giggles really bad. He would always, it wasn't hard to get him going and get him laughing. And Lauren was the worst joke teller, Jack, right? I mean, Lauren Green he would wait until we were about to do a take. And I think it was his fun with these young actors who were inexperienced. And he would come in, and right before we did a take, it would be a ba-dum-bump. And then he would drop a joke and then just turn and be perfectly Adama. And of course we were dying. I mean, it was really, that was great. And Terry was one of those. And I always remember Terry off on the side on the breaks doing business. He was quite an accomplished businessman. And there was just something super cool about him. I kind of thought I want to be him when I grow up. But he was very kind, sweet man. I think we all had that same feeling about him. So yeah, he was kind of the consummate actor and Renaissance man.
He was classically trained, and the one thing, and again, I was very, very lucky throughout my entire career to not have to deal with the egos of ill-tempered stars. We were nurtured and taught by people like Lauren Green and Lloyd Bridges and Terry. I tell you, if you were in a scene with Lauren and Lloyd, and you didn't know your words, you were in big trouble. They set a standard for us, and we learned from them. my early career, and all my children, most of what I know about acting, I learned on that show, which we did live every day. And I think the discipline and the commitment to excellence and the commitment to knowing your craft and trying to improve your craft all the time came from them. And also from John Colicos, which is actually one of my favorite stories, because I would stand and watch him up on this tower doing Baltar, and I'd not met him. So when he came down one afternoon, I introduced myself to him, and I said, because I knew his reputation, he was the foremost Shakespearean actor in Canada and played Lear at a very young age and won like all the, Tonys in Canada for it. And I said to him, I'm Jack Stauffer. I just want to tell you that I just marvel at your ability to do Baltar. And he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Oh, dear boy, don't you realize if I can say this shit, Lear is easy."
Laurette, do you have any memories of Calicos?
John, I did not do any scenes with him.
Right.
Amazing.
I didn't think
it was kind of that second season dream. Second season was what we all looked ahead to having the scripts. Fans and critics were saying we needed more people stories, not just Cylon, not just wars, but getting to know the characters a little bit better. And I don't think I'm wrong about this. Have you guys heard that? Oh my God, I'm having a senior moment. Trying to remember the writer, Asimov, Isaac Asimov.
Okay, yeah.
Was I was told, and I kind of heard it through Glenn, was that Isaac Asimov was coming in to write for the second season.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
To do some writing. Did you hear it too?
Yeah.
And there were, for that, I was hoping, I always looked ahead and I thought, well, maybe I'll have more scenes with Lauren and I'll have more scenes with John. It was so much fun. It was so much fun and broke my heart when it ended. And I think I've told you guys, many of you guys know the story, that I was in Michigan with my family after we wrapped for the season. And I'm watching Rona Barrett's television, the gossip columnist, and she was announcing what shows, what was coming up, what was dropped. And she said, and we'll have to say a goodbye to Battlestar Galactica. And I went, oh, that's how I heard.
Oh boy.
None
of us were told. We're all expecting a second season, and that's how we learned. And I always thought it was very, very interesting that Universal, when they canceled it, quote, deemed it a failed show, and within 3 weeks, Battlestar Galactica was the centerpiece of the Universal Studios tour.
Yeah.
Go figure the logic.
Well, that's then you get into merchandising.
Yeah. Merchandising, yeah.
The merchandising, the whole thing. I remember having of talking to my agent about. I said, my face is on T-shirts, record albums, all these things, and yet I haven't been getting any money for it. And he said, let me give it a go. But he said, we're talking about Universal Studios. So he got back to me a few weeks later and he said, they just sent you a check, and it was a modest amount, but I think they thought that would keep me quiet. And so my agent, I said, well, just push a little bit more. That wasn't very much. And he pushed again. They asked for the check back. So I said, okay, I get it, you guys. So it's kind of the merchandising with their legal department, I believe, is figured by after this person and that person is paid, and what's left over, and there's a percentage, and you learn, and Jack knows this, you learn as you go what battles to fight, and that was to be one of them. So
yeah.
Well, I just want to say this, Laurette, Jack, your fan base is growing every day with Battlestar Galactica, because I'm one of the new fans.
We roped him in.
You did. So I started watching it 3 months ago,
3 months ago?
3 months ago. And I completely, like, I've written for Star Trek and stuff like that, but I love classic Battlestar Galactica. And I was drawn in by the characters. You know, the acting's magnificent. I really enjoy it. You know, it's fun and there's heart to it. It's not depressing. It's not depressing sci-fi. It's hopeful sci-fi, and I think that's really missing today. I would have loved to have seen a second series. There's fans all over the world. We were talking about this earlier. Who are writing fan fiction. I'm one of them. We're writing fiction all the time. Out there. Or writing fiction all the time with your characters. The characters you create it. Because I'm firmly of the belief that a writer can do so much, but it's the actor who embodies the work that breathes the life.
The face of it. Yep.
Yeah. Well, you have to be also surrounded by people who give you permission to do that. And again, all of us, you know, who go back to an age of television that the vast majority of today's population don't even know existed. You know, long before CGI, long even before Steadicams. You know, one of the reasons why the show was so hard to film was the complexity of the sets. But if you go back to that time, it wasn't until a second season of a show that you really moved ahead. The first part of the show was to introduce the people, get to know the characters, and you develop the character as you went along. Battlestar never got to that point. It got right up to the edge where, you know, if they had done a second season, and I talked to Glenn about the second season, and it would have been completely different. I mean, one of the reasons that I ended up on the show is that, you know, Laurette said it had to be more about running from the Cylons every week, and you know, the same kind of rehashing of the plot. The Pegasus was brought in to be the antithesis of that, the warrior ship, which not only gave you a whole different dimension, but would have given you conflict within the Battlestar fleet, which would have allowed for much more possibilities character-wise. You know, just the one scene, you know, where you know, Bojay and Sheba lead the revolt, you know, and you know, the alarms go off because we get attacked. But that was the only scene in the whole series where you had conflict between members of the Galactica, where you had two different opposing sides, and that gets brought out as seasons go on. But we never got there, and like I say, we found out when you know, the schedule came out, and we were all crushed. I mean, it was you know, we had what we thought was a job that we were going back to, and believe me, Laurette will tell you this too. Knowing that you have a job that you're going back to, that you don't do one episode, and as soon as you wrap that episode up, you're absolutely sure you're never going to work again. You know, to be able to look forward and go, I'm going to be working all year. And for any actor, that's mentally a saving grace. You know, episodic television, you finished your episode, and when I finished, I thought, well, that's the last job I'll ever have. And that's the insecurities that we all went through as actors.
That's got to get some stress.
I think, though, Jack, the one thing I wanted to mention was that I believe they were beginning to get there at the end of the season.
Yeah.
With Hand of God.
Yeah.
Hand of God was written, Glenn said, because it was that beginning of bringing the characters and giving them, you know, soul. I mean, to have Cassiopeia and Starbuck and Sheba and Apollo going up in the hand of God and talking about, you know, the earth and having that whole, it was the teaser for the next season.
Yeah.
And so I was very hopeful that they were going to move forward and do more personal, in-depth stuff.
Yeah, we all
were. Yeah, I think we all watched that and had hope.
But but again, a lot of the reason too, and again, you have to realize that sci-fi was a no-no on television for so long, and when Star Wars came out, and was such a huge hit, that's when sci-fi went back to television, and Battlestar Galactica was the first, big TV space-oriented show. And
now it's Lost in Space, though.
Yeah, but that was kind of different. The great thing about Galactica was it was never supposed to be an episodic show. It was a 3-hour movie. That was the original concept, and it got the highest ratings on ABC. There was only one movie of the week on ABC that had higher ratings, and that was Brian's Song, which was one of their very first ones. Galactica had the highest rating. So, of course, instead of taking the time to get scripts and develop things and make sure the sets were accessible and get more special effects, they just threw it on the air, and they were trying to do this stuff as we went along. And that was one of the big drawbacks as to why the show kind of went up and down as it did. Like I say, the fact that it only lasted 1 year and still has this following, I think is a great tribute to what Glenn was able to fight his way through, and all of us together, trying to do a show as well as we could. I think that's as well as it lasted. Even though, they did put it on Sunday night, they put it on Thursday night, they didn't know what to do with it. We were getting scripts for the next week's show the day before we started filming, and it was just different when Babylon 5 became a series. They had 5 years of pre-production where they did all the special effects, they had all the scripts, and that's why that show was technically a really good show, and they had very good actors in it too. But like I said, I think if we'd gone to the second year, we would have had more time to write better scripts, get better scripts, define the characters better, and to open the show up. The Pegasus was always coming back. When Glenn and I sat down and talked, that was always going to be a part of it. And like I said, we never got there. The boat sank.
Yeah. Kian lives.
Yeah.
Kian lives.
Yeah. As a Cylon.
That's right.
As a Cylon. Oh, he got abducted as a Cylon.
We have a great, the fan base that we have here on IFB is fantastic. It takes a village. Mike DeBrune
we got some questions.
says, we are grateful for you both for lending your awesome talents to something that means so much to us, to so many, on so many levels. A salute from him. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it. Quick comment from John Repper. Hi, Jack. I was one of the fans in the autograph line at the 20 Yarn reunion, and you started handing snacks to us. Thank you for that. So these are the kind of things that, just kind of stand out here and there. Of course, Laurette, there are plenty of great comments addressed to you, of course. Loving your work. Mentioning some of the appearances you've made on various other shows as well, of course, as Battlestar Galactica. I want to make sure that I cover two things, though. One of them, of course, is Laurette, you've written a book that we've covered here on IFB. We want to make sure we talk about that. But there's also another book that you've participated with us here, and it's being released on October 1st on Amazon. And thanks to Dr. Chris McCauley, who's here with us, for helping us do this, the unofficial and unauthorized quiz book. And there you are.
A special Laurette Spang area, Cassiopeia questions area.
You gave me such big billing. I'm embarrassed.
No, not at all.
You deserve it.
So That's October 1st. That'll be out on Amazon, and it'll be not only the ebook, but it'll be actually in paperback. So everyone that
Everybody wants
is
a paperback.
fan,
Yeah.
it covers. We have two different covers of the same thing, and so that's a real big to do. Thank you, Laurette, for participating with us and just having things going. Like the whole fandom, it's still out there. And imagine the fact that we've put together a quiz book after so many years, and that the fans they're still hungry for it. And having you aboard makes a big difference. So thank you to you, Laurette, and thank you to Dr. McCauley, who through his BBV Productions in the UK went out on a limb and decided to, there's definitely
It didn't go. I tell you, it didn't go out. Nobody went out on a limb. This is very important stuff. This is Battlestar is incredibly relevant to today. I mean, I've argued this so many times with people where it's, you hear some of the disparaging comments, but Battlestar is a very spiritual show, and I think that's the core of it. And you've got some of the stuff with Star Wars. There's a little bit of spirituality, but there's a lot of human spirituality, a lot of mythology. Of Adama being the keeper of the human myths and all this kind of, it's very, very powerful stuff. And yeah, you've got Cylons, but the representation of a dangerous mechanized society and what happens there and how rigid it is compared to the humans. I mean, I would have loved to have seen episodes where you meet the human poets and the artists and all that kind of stuff, and you see humanity flourishing in the fleet through that way. But that's stuff maybe that's going to come out in some fiction and some other stuff maybe.
We'll start writing books again, right?
Well, the Cylons were, the beginning of AI. It's funny. We're now coming to grips with reality, which was considered wild, science fiction not very long ago. And it's, without getting too political about this, the federal government better get a hand on this very, very quickly, because if you don't put tight regulations on this, we've seen enough movies where AI takes over, and once it becomes self-learning, they're going to find out the last people they need are the humans. But it was funny. The Cylons were one of the beginnings of AI. Go back to the original, the day the Earth stood still.
I love that.
Had the robot.
Oh, did you? Yes.
But I have a Laurette story. If as long as she's there, and she's kidded. So, I
all right, we're a PG channel here. Hang on.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure what he's coming up with.
But when I came on the show, it took me 5 minutes to develop this huge crush on Laurette, and as I think we had one date, but Laurette was dating a gentleman named John
McCook. One date? Did
What?
you say we had one date?
I think we went on one date. I'm not sure. I think we did. But you were dating John McCook, who actually was responsible for me going on The Young and the Restless and getting fired from The Young and the Restless.
Oh, yeah, that's such a bad story.
That was your husband's fault. But it was funny, and Laurette and John have been together for so long and been so much, and it's great to see. And I've been with my wife for 40 years.
That's fantastic.
It's nice to reminisce about those old days when both my knees didn't hurt and I had two legs.
Laurette, if you don't know, we've talked Jack into doing one last private signing. Jack, I want you to know that there are upwards of at least 30 and moving forward 30 fans. Actually, it's more than 30, but we've met one of the milestones, and there are many fans that still want and have not met you, or have, but they still want more autographs from you. So thank you for taking us seriously enough and having the faith in the fans. So we're collecting we're collecting names now. There is an interest, and so we're doing a private signing since Jack, you'd said that, you know, conventions are not really in the cards for you, but you'd be willing to, you know, do that autographing, the signing. We have plenty of fans that want your autograph. So thank you for doing that.
And it's either that or wallpaper the garage with the old pictures.
No, well, guess what? There's plenty of fans that still want your autograph, including us here, Tipsy Toaster, and Doc McCauley and myself. So thank you for that, and we really appreciate both of you again taking your time out and supporting the fans, supporting IFB, supporting Battlestar Galactica. You've both been involved in a lot of different shows. You've had quite the career and then some. And you know, coming on here and sharing, all the fans are just gushing. Laurette, thank you so much. But we want to talk about Chris. Do you have the book handy?
I was just about to ask Laurette. How's the audiobook going?
The audiobook's going great. Oh, I'm so glad you put that up there. Thank you.
Everybody, this is a really good book. I really love Jake's input on this as well. I love seeing both sides of it as being a mom for you, and being a son as Jake, and then having to deal. Oops, I'm holding it in front of my microphone so you can't hear me. Having to deal with, you know, the schizophrenia piece, and I think that's so important that you shared that story. That, you know, like I tell our people all the time. So if you have a story and you keep it to yourself, it dies with you. If you have a story and you bring it out and you put it on paper and get it out there to somewhere, I don't care if you put it on a website or whatever else, it lives on long past you. And it's so important that you put this together. I think, you know, if any of you have ever had any mental health issues in your families or anything like that, this is a great read and a really telling story. And I think it helps you understand both sides of this. I think it's thank you for getting with Jake and writing it. I think I don't know what's the next plans on this. I know you got the audiobook coming out.
Yeah, the audiobook is out. It's on all the platforms, and that means so much to me, because I think what happened when I wrote this, I have a novel that right now is in the final stages of being edited. And it was a 350-page book, kind of a psychological thriller kind of thing that I had written, I'm telling you, decades ago. And, you know, it was on my desk. But then we found out that Jake had schizophrenia, and the years went by. And then I thought this would be an amazing thing to get him back to his creative place, because he was an awesome video editor, very talented as an actor, and had great promise. But when those things were stopped, I thought, we could write this together, and maybe this is what I'm meant for. Maybe this is my thing. And so a lot of you have written to me and to Jake, and I cannot tell you what that feels like to have people say, my aunt, my brother, my dad has schizophrenia, or I know somebody, and I never really understood it until you explained it. And it's, you know, if everybody went out there and went to Jake's website, it's www.jakemccook.com, and subscribe and support him on Instagram. He's at cliffsofschizophrenia.com. Oh, no, I take that back. At Cliffs of Schizophrenia is his name on Instagram. And he talks right to the camera about his bad days, his good days. And we are really connecting with a bigger audience around the world and in different places. So anyway, sorry, Chris, this was more than I meant to say.
This is great.
But it's something that affects all of us. Mental health affects all of us. And it's just, when we found out Jake had this, nobody talked about it. Nobody, you know, if we told a few people, and I remember having reactions like, oh, and a little bit of fear. And so we learned not to talk about it with people. We would just say, oh, he's having problems, or even dared at one point to say, I thought for a while, maybe I'll just say he's bipolar because Charlie Sheen made it cool. And
oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so I thought, but schizophrenia still has that school shooting kind of thing that every time something happens, somebody goes, oh yeah, he's a schizo. So that's my goal in life. I'm moving forward with it and doing more talks. We're getting it into libraries and places where people who don't have the money to go on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and all the places. So help me spread it around. Go to your local libraries and ask for the book and they'll order it. And you be my army. And I will so appreciate that. By the way, can't forget, Friday, September 20th is Sarah Rush's birthday.
Oh.
So everybody send her up.
Yeah, we reached out to her via email. I was hoping to get her on tonight.
Oh gosh, and she didn't respond. I wonder if she didn't get it.
I think she probably was just too busy. But we did send an email.
She is super, super. She's like all love. So everybody send her a happy birthday.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
Thank you so
cool. Much. I will say something about Laurette's book, which we bought a copy of. It's a marvel, and I marvel what Laurette has done with it, because she personalizes what it's like raising a schizophrenic child. And I thought, I don't happen to have one, so I don't have the experience, but I can imagine somebody else taking great solace in the fact that Laurette personalized it, so you don't feel like it's your fault. When a child has a mental disorder, the parents tend to blame themselves or blame God or blame somebody for, putting this hardship on them. And what the book that Laurette wrote, I think will bring a lot of peace and a lot of tranquility and I won't say happiness, but acceptance that, they're not bad parents for having this happen to them, and they'll find more positive ways to deal with it. So, kudos to my dear friend Laurette for writing this book.
Exactly.
It had to be written.
Yep.
Thank you.
We have some just a couple of quick comments. JJ Picard, I follow on Instagram, very educational and breaks down barriers about mental health. Good job to you both. Sean Shallow, that maintains the Battlestar bulletin board on Facebook, shared a personal note. He says, I have a brother with schizophrenia and it's hard. Thank you for sharing that. Sean was on earlier, helping us open this particular show. He writes fan fiction, and he just puts up some very cool Battlestar stuff, and we're lucky that he's a supporter and he does what he does. So thank you, Sean, for sharing. Much appreciated. This is all good stuff, and sometimes it takes celebrities to get the word out in the right way and the right context. So thank you for doing that, Laurette. Not a lot of people can do that or wish or want to share, and you're making a difference. All these things. So Jack and Laurette, your talents and your skills and the love that you have for your fans, it shows. When any professional goes about their business and they're not a fan of it, they can be really, really good at it, but there's another quality to someone that's a fan and respects and loves their fans. When they do things, it shows. As much as you may think it doesn't, it does, and we all appreciate that. So thank you for doing everything you've done.
Well, what the fans have done, when we go back to like the 20 Yarn reunion, the convention circuit was much different. Now it's, the mega cons, the fan run cons, the smaller cons are like everything else, been taken over by Amazon. So, it's very hard for those of us with an older show to get invited because, these younger stars have realized they can go to the, the Fan X in Salt Lake City, where 150,000 people go and sell their pictures at $100 a piece.
Yep.
I always had more fun at the smaller shows because you could talk to the fans, and it means so much to the fans to talk to you, and it's such a small effort on our part to participate. I've been in more Friday night productions of Rocky Horror Show than I've ever wanted to be in my life at some of these cons, but I am always eternally grateful to the fans for remembering. As you and I have talked privately, part of being an actor is this, narcissism that you have to be an actor, and to get that feedback it's so nice to know that you did your job well enough that somebody appreciated it, which is why I've always thought the fans were much more important, and why I would sit at a table in a convention, and even if you weren't selling pictures, they could just come up and talk to you. And now I look at what they're doing. They're building full-scale Vipers. They're filming their own episodes. They have better costumes than we did. The fan base out there, could probably, do their own version of Battlestar Galactica, put it on the internet. Good.
Wish we could.
Others have. Perfect example is Veronica Mars. That's one of the go-to examples. Veronica Mars, the fandom raised over $1 million. I think it was 1.4, and they got the full cast to come back, and they filmed. They kind of wrapped up
the final
that show by doing, and it was licensed and it was authorized. It was all about, they raised the money and they all came back and did it. And it's just incredible. It's happened a few times. I mean, not a lot, but it's happened. The fandoms have been able to do that, and that would be tremendous.
You just have to mobilize them.
Mobilize.
It would be wonderful because the expression old soldiers never die, they just fade away does not hold true for actors. Old actors never die. They always think there's one more gig out there for them. And believe me, I miss it terribly. I went back, as you all know, I went back to theater at the end of my career, and found so much more fun in directing and on a positive level, because when you're dealing with problems and actors, it's so easy to throw blame around, and I loved directing theater, and my mantra was that I will never say no to you, because there is no way to do the creative arts. It's open to everybody, and I directed both professionally on stage and community theater, and I had much more fun doing the community theater, because these are people who had to make a decision with their lives that they couldn't follow a career in show business. They had to raise a family, but that desire was always there. And I, directed a lot of comedies, and I would sit in the back for each show and the tears would run down my face. Honestly, watching these people finally get a chance to do what I was lucky enough to be able to do for 50 years. And that was my way of paying forward. Just you can't do it wrong. Trust me, and you'll be fabulous. And they all were. And even some of the shows that weren't very good, they were all fabulous. If they weren't very good, it was my fault.
well, Jack, when it comes to Battlestar Galactica, why we're here today and why we've made it so far and we're having the Galactica Day is because your performance, Laurette's performance, and all the other actors' performances were unforgettable.
Yep.
That's why we
lived that life through you.
That's right. Laurette, do you have any closing remarks as we start wrapping up our show?
This has been, I don't want to say surprisingly, but it's been so emotional for me today. It just hits me again and again about how this season, the show, it sticks. It's like stayed with all of you, and when I see people at the conventions, when I'm lucky enough to talk to you guys, I get, I mean, all kinds of, I get a lot of men saying to me when I was 12, I don't want to know when you were 12, but that how it affected them. My parents were divorcing. This was going on. This was going on. That never fails to touch my heart because my parents divorced when I was 9, and I know what having something to dream about and something to, magical in your life. So I'm so happy that we were able to give that to you guys, but you've given it back 1,000 times over.
And
so thank you.
We'll keep doing what we can to make you happy, and you keep doing. We just keep watching the shows. You don't have to do anything anymore. We just keep watching those shows, and you making books and other things, and we'll definitely keep up with you. Have you got any appearances coming up, Laurette, for the book signings or anything?
No, we did Barnes and Noble. We'll probably do another one of those, and we just finished doing Oceanside, doing a mental health thing. Jake and I went down there, but we're beginning to kind of open up the idea of doing more, personal appearance things and talking about the book. So, and hopefully you'll be hearing about my novel soon. And if you sign up on our website, thejakemccook.com, that you get newsletters, and that will announce, it'll keep we try and keep that current. So you'll get newsletters from that as well. Oh, yes. And thank you so much. God, Chris, you're amazing. John Krause is doing the audiobook voice for my son, Jake, because the idea of it was so emotional for him to write the book. It took 2 years for us to write the book, but for Jake to actually relive it by going through those weeks and weeks in a studio of reading it was too hard. And my son-in-law, John Krause, whose picture is here, is a Broadway actor. He was in Hadestown on Broadway. He's remarkable. He's got the most gorgeous voice. And to give him a little plug, he does music lessons. He teaches guitar and singing, and he can do it on Zoom. And you can go to his website, is John Krause, Krause Studio, all one word, johnkrausestudio.com, and you can get all the information. But he's an awesome teacher. If you want to start a new career and sing or do guitar, he's your man. And just tell him I sent you.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Laurette and Jack. This is a tremendous birthday festival here on IFB, and it's remarkable that you guys would be willing, and Eric, of course, Eric Larson, that was on earlier, and everyone else that came on our 3-hour marathon that we did, including Dr. McCauley, one of our producers here on IFB. Thank you for taking the time out. I know that you didn't intentionally come on for 3 hours, but we roped you into it. So thank you, Doc McCauley, for doing that as well.
Always a pleasure, guys. Always a pleasure.
So for the record, Dr. McCauley is a PhD, and that's why we call him Dr. McCauley. It's not out of anything else. But
I thought it was just for fun.
Yeah, well, it kind of is.
He's the new Doctor Who. That's why.
Yes, that is. Well, he is writing for Doctor Who, but that's beside the point. Jack and Laurette, thank you very, very much for continuing keeping the faith. Like Richard Hatch would say, keep the faith. We have our own saying, which we will use here as we close. Laurette, you always have a place, a platform. You're more than
new
welcome.
Book comes out. Let us know.
Yep.
You just want to come on and talk? We're here.
We're here. Absolutely.
Same thing with
I
you,
love
Jack.
you guys. I do.
Thank you, Laurette.
You guys have to have me back on one more time so I can figure out how to make the camera work on the
Yes.
Oh, we could have you back on a bunch of times. I'm sure we got all sorts of stories.
As I've told you guys stories, never get an old actor talking. You'll never shut him up. So, I mean, I am available, being, confined to a wheelchair these days, my beat up old website, which is www.jackstauffer.com, has my email address on it. and the fans, if you send me an email, I guarantee you I will answer it. And it's my way of staying in touch with you. And like I say, if you want to hear funny stories from other things, we kind of didn't get into the stories during this little thing of the funny stuff that went on during Galactica, and of course the other ones that I would love to share, because I had my share of what I call the David Jansen stories, and the great, it's awful to say it now, what we call the fag on the nag story, where I lied through my teeth to get a 3-hour How the West Was Won, where I was supposed to be an expert horse rider, and as I got the job, the producer asked me, "Jack, you do ride, don't you?" And I said, "Oh, of course." The only horses I knew about were the ones who ran third at Hialeah and cost me a fortune. So that's another story for another time.
And
so
Jack, I just wanted to say, Jack, make no mistake about Jack. This man, he is a warrior. He has been to hell and back, and I'm so proud of him. And write to him, bug him. He deserves. Yeah. He needs being bugged. He needs all you guys to keep in touch and all that. But he's a strong guy.
I do. It does. Sitting here alone in the house, staring out the window. I mean, I'd rather have something much to do. I can't write a book. I'm not that. But it's yes, you and I talked about doing the.
We're going to work on that.
Wide, and just doing it in a series of 1-hour episodes, and you can record it, because they're it's fun to tell the whole story from a different time when television was completely different. When Laurette talking about being under contract, I mean, it's today, as Molly, McCook, she has to go to her own studio in the garage to audition. I remember when you auditioned in front of people, and then I remember when the first video camera came in, and I must admit I miss the older ways. You developed personal relationships instead of this very just technical world on which is now entertainment. And I guess being old and coming up through the golden age of television, when there was no cable, there were just networks, and at midnight they played the Star Spangled
Banner and turned it off.
Well, I'm about to send you an email, Jack, about David Copperfield the musical, because I want to know more about David Copperfield the musical.
Oh, all right, that's another story. So
I'm going to send you an email about that right now.
So, okay. Jack, thank you, Laurette, thank you, yep. Jack. We will be talking more about the private signing that we're doing. I just wanted to mention it here on air, so that everybody is clear that it actually is happening, yep. And that you're gonna we're gonna have it. We're gonna make it. And I'm so happy that you agreed to it, and we did meet our milestones. So that's happening. So guys, stay tuned. Thank you so much, both of you, and Eric, of course, and all the guests that were on before. It's that time.
We always say that the fans fuel the fleet, but I must say, everybody here has fueled the fans. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. This is the most fun I've had in probably the last 2 years.
Oh wow, that's great.
Well, my stories of Richard, are need to be told, because he and I go back so far. But where Richard was a wonderful actor and a teacher, I always considered myself more of an entertainer. So it's in telling the stories and passing on some of the goofy stuff and some of the serious stuff, and I even talk about a lot of it was in my cabaret, of the stuff that broke my heart. Being successful in show business, as I've always said, is 5% talent, 5% getting in front of the person who can hire you, and 90% blind frickin' luck. And you have to be lucky. And so as my cabaret was called, Confessions from Downstage Center. I would love to come back on.
Oh, we'll have you back on for sure.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have you on.
Thank you so much, and like I said, we'll be getting back in touch with you in regards to getting some of your stories out to the world, because everybody wants to hear those, and we need to put them somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're
Lorette,
goofy.
you too.
Yep. So here's to you.
Here's to all of you.
All of you out there. Thank you so much.
IFB.
Take care.
All right, we'll sign off, and thanks again, guys, for having me. And you know where I am. Reach out. I'm available all the time.
Will do.
Okay, guys. Thanks.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you very, very much. Long live Battlestar Galactica and IFB. Thank you. That was tremendous. If I were to tell my 12-year-old self that, guess what? I did a show and I had Jack on and I had Laurette and I had Eric Larson, he'd be like, first, I don't believe you, but if you did, okay, you succeeded. Very good. Well done. But
I will sign up and figure out maybe you or Chris can.
Oh yeah, we'll help you figure out the video.
How to get the video to work on this.
We sure will. Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks.
Take care.
Lorette, I will text you later.
Okay.
We'll talk. Okay. As we always do. All right. Bye for now. Thank you.
All right. Take care.
All right, Doc Macaulay, you're good to go. You're set. Thank you very much. I didn't know if you were going to be able to last through this, but thank you very much also for.
Oops, I turned his audio down. Sorry, there we go.
Thank you very much, Doc.
There we go.
Thank
Dipsy
you.
Toaster, we're good to go. Thank you, everybody. We are now into our 5th season, right? So that's well over what? Yes or no?
We're into ta-da.
Yeah, ta-da is right. Well over 200 plus shows, interviews, and the like. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, not counting all the cons we've been to and everything else.
Oh my God, we've done so much. So thank you to everyone. See you on Thursday. Thursday live, our regular.
We'll be back Thursday.
Time. Yep, we'll have a regular show then. So take care for now, everyone. Thank you very much. Happy birthday, Battlestar Galactica. Happy anniversary to IFB. And stay tuned for more. And all the best. Fans Fuel the Fleet.
Fans Fuel the Fleet.
Thank you. And we
Thank you very
will
much.
see you again.
Yep. Take care.